Previously, in the Age of Ashes.
The warriors came to find the totem, and us defending it.
No, but when you...
And as you're interrupted here, as you're all
Did I just hear a laser zap?
walking along and see smoke emanating from an indigo pillar, you see, as per usual, a group of defenders. And as they come out, tiny bows drawn from their place in hiding nearby, each of their eyes glows indigo.
But its defeat was our freedom.
I'm going to draw my thieves' tools, and I'm going to suddenly reappear back on this plane of existence and up, and go straight for the skull to mar the runes.
You can tell you're successful as the smoke fades away, and the glow you could even see around the sides of the totem embedded in the ground peters out. So too does the glow in all of the Gripply's eyes. And as you clear the runes, even reaching for an arrow, the Gripply stop and blink and kind of look around.
Not much further, there was yet another totem, blinding, defended by a dragon beast.
You run into
I heard a laser blast.
another totem.
Why? Why?
You cannot stop Cinderclaws! I am dragon!
One more time and just try to shoulder this thing over. Just lean it.
Please
push
stop,
it.
Totem. This blast does seem to be enough to finally send him spiraling out of the air
See, what you couldn't see is he looks very hurt.
and down to the ground. He looked very hurt.
So I throw back my covers, happen to be totally naked because it's hot outside. And I
Put on
grab
your
my
hat.
shield, and I jump out of bed, and I'm going to run and in between Dalrin, Espis, and Rur, and then kind of raise my shield up on top of them, just easy breezy over here, guys. Sorry, miss. And I'll just shield up. So I have my shield. I didn't have any.
You
Don't have my
weapon.
armor.
Your weapons
but
are all over there. You just-
There's a reason why the women are on this side of the pit now.
Here's the worst part. I'm laying down. I have a bird's
Exactly.
eye view of
I am
everything
also-
that's going on.
I'm also crouching over you, so you're really having a rough time.
The sloths are not the only things dangling tonight.
I think I'd like to die, please.
And there was a bit more bonus on top of that, too, which was particularly neat. Because of note, most note anyway, as we ended last week's session, having taken down so many of these totems throughout the jungle and made most of our way back to Akrivel, you all finally achieved level 7.
Yes.
Which was a super interesting development. Because it is, I think, by far the biggest jump in power that we've had.
So many numbers.
So many numbers, master rank skills, all kinds of stuff. Like, every single person gets something fairly massive at 7. Between new spell levels and cantrip scaling up for the casters, everybody getting master level skills, weapon specializations, master perception, master saving throws. Level 7's a big level in 2nd edition. Take these session rerolls before I forget about them and before I forget passing them on the table. And when very last we left our heroes, you had just finished dealing with yet another of these totems. This one, bright side, its laser not seeming to deal any damage or really any kind of life-threatening debilitations. Downside, several of you are completely blind.
You know,
What you're saying is the downside is difficult to see.
It is.
It was really blindingly obvious where this totem was.
So, with this totem finally toppled, and in addition, the further draconically influenced Chiruka that was defending it having been slain, you've seen a couple things here. First, you faced these Chiruka, of course, back in Iskar. Then you came here and faced one of their high priests, or a leader of some kind, who clearly was tinged with this dragon blood had some crazy powers and could just cause lava to erupt out of the ground with a simple prayer. And now, a Chiruka that is nearly entirely converted into a dragon itself. Wings, fire breath, and all. The power they wield, or at least that which they are bringing to bear, does certainly seem to be steadily increasing. But as we begin today, we are still here in the midst of this jungle clearing with a toppled totem, a dead draconic Chiruka, and a pretty heavily debilitated party, all things considered. So who all has absolutely no vision right now? Who all is drained as well?
Buddy's good.
Buddy's good. Buddy's having a great time. He's not really positive what exactly all the complaining is about. Everything seems to be going fairly well for him.
Iomade protects.
My helmet day
Sure does.
protects.
Saren Ray assists.
Yeah, meanwhile, Saren Ray's over here like, what am I?
So we did drop this pretty much immediately at the end of the combat as we had gone on. You know, the blindness made it last a little longer than I had calculated. So as this all falls silent and still your vision does not return to you, Dalren and Esvis, you're still left in, as far as you can tell, complete absolute darkness. But you can tell certainly that the fight has ended for now. You hear nothing but the sounds of the jungle, the birds, and the omnipresent buzzing of insects around you. And you hear the sounds of the villain point dropping gloriously into my coffers from Link 1429. I had 0, so I appreciate this.
My heart quails unexpectedly.
Points are returned.
Hey, you know, we got all these fancy new hero points you should hand out to us instead of giving him villain points. The old rusty coins.
But they make cool noises, though.
They're rusty from the blood of players.
The horrible
Tarnished.
atrocities they've committed. Anyway,
Well, it seems things have quieted down.
Well, yeah, but it
Oh, the
seems to
monocle
be
doesn't do anything.
mostly over here. Although, I mean, we may want to rest a bit, but maybe we should try and kind of like hide somewhere.
Well,
I'm sure we're perfectly hidden.
Any place is as good as this right now, as far as I can see.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you guys are kind of like, you look like you're wandering around. You look kind of like idiots a bit. I mean, it'd really be better if you just stood still, because that one, actually, no, that's a log. Well, you'll figure it out.
Esvis has the right idea. Let's at least take a moment.
Just feeling around.
Esvis hasn't moved since
Yeah.
like the last 20 seconds of the combat. He just sat down next to the totem and let it happen
Fine.
around him.
There you are.
Hey.
Let's just sit down for a minute, and I'm just, oh my god, he really got me. I'm gonna take care of this. Is anybody else feeling injured?
mean, you could-
My sleeve is wet and sticky.
I'm
Yes, right there.
I'm all right. I'm just feeling like, well, honestly, I'm feeling like Aunt Flo was visited a little early this month, if you know what I mean.
Aunt Flo.
Okay, maybe you don't know what I mean. I was trying to be delicate about the matter, but forget it.
Huh. Yeah, women are weird. Okay, well,
All right, Dalrin, come to the sound of my voice.
don't,
Just using the geese arm, just trying to feel my way.
I mean, you guys are like right next to each
Yeah.
other because the last thing it had was he blasted you with little
Yeah.
lightning breath. So I mean,
Unbeknownst to me,
I
said
said go
do
for
it.
it.
he did.
but you managed to kind of
Sit the both
work
of you
your
down in a
way
safe spot.
together with Esvis and Dalren and Rur all sitting down to tend to your admittedly fairly impressive injuries. That creature had put up quite a fight and certainly had been the most capable of the Cinderclaw forces that you've faced so far.
Thankfully,
Which-
he was a jerk and had no friends.
Thankfully, he was a jerk and had no friends. Imagine him with any sort of support whatsoever. But go ahead and we got to test out this new master level medicine check here, of course.
Well,
Master Recon.
who all is injured?
I could use a little bit of patching up.
You?
I'm fine.
All right, I'm gonna give you a band-aid just right there, and there you go. And everybody else, is getting, since Dalrin can't see, he doesn't know what I'm about to do to him. But we're opening up with some master level medicine checks here, and I'm actually going to open up his wound and suture it after cleaning it out.
The good news is you get a perfectly fine opportunity to try this out now that he is very severely injured, as are you.
And he won't be able to tell what you're doing, so don't worry about it.
You'll feel it, I'm sure.
Hey,
Oh,
I'll be
yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
He'll-
I'm a tiny
he'll
bit
feel it
hurt, but
because-
not that bad.
That fails, and I used my
Slight
halfling
pinch.
luck. I think.
He definitely is.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hero point or session reroll that, and we're gonna try it again because I'm new to this. I'm not really
I've never done this before.
Taking the
still
effort.
fails. It doesn't hurt you.
He's definitely
but,
never done this before.
Yeah.
Spending 10 minutes and trying his best with his blind friend here to
And then out of frustration, I'm just gonna slap some salve in there, just like, you're good.
carpe the diem.
All right. So yeah, that actually succeeded, and you get back 2d8 plus 30.
Assuming this is you still, or
No, I'm
No, this is on you because I just had your
Yeah,
arm
he-
opened up,
he
and I'm
tried
like, screw
for-
it.
Oh, you're the
tried
one
for-
who just went and like ripped my
Yeah, he's
arm.
tried for 10 minutes or so. I didn't really have any success, and then just about
42.
42.
Yep.
I am 2 hit points short of full.
So you, with all of your experimentation over 10 minutes
Hey, it
leading to
worked.
largely nothing, do the same thing we always do. Take some salve, mix some goop, slap up all the sun, and call it a day.
That's why
Turns
medicine.
out alchemy exists for a reason,
Yep.
I guess.
It all doctors just practice.
Why do big effort when little effort just is good?
It worked.
And it is, at this point, relatively late in the afternoon. You had traveled through most of the day to get here before you came upon this totem. So it won't be too long before Manali and Valia find their way back to the group of you, supposedly. But after all of this treatment, you are still completely blind. And along with that, the blood loss that 3 of you are suffering certainly isn't being much better either.
I don't suppose we're in much condition to travel right now.
You
I hope
think?
we'll eventually be in a condition to travel.
Oh, this is perfect.
What do you mean this is perfect? What does perfect mean? You're making me nervous.
Severin, keep an eye on Esphus.
If that bird starts taking my rations, I'm going to turn it into a cooked chicken.
It'd be pretty impressive to change the species of bird.
That angry.
Severin will fly over and be on your shoulder. And he'll start. For the first time, he'll go, Governor. Governor, you're walking away from the fire. The fire's this way. If you want to get warm, you have to turn around now. Are you?
I'm not going to walk. I'm going to sit here.
You can tell with this flapping around you that this is almost certainly, you can't see it, but a fairly impressive trick of ventriloquism on Resume's part, or the bird is talking.
I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. It finally happened.
I heard that as well. I don't think you're crazy so much as the bird is apparently a parrot.
I'm not a parrot. I'm a falcon. Are you blind too?
No, but you are definitely a talking bird.
I've always been a talking bird. You're just stupid and you never understood me.
Chirping is not speaking.
I don't think Falcon's true, to be fair.
Resme, your friends are dumb. I'm beginning to understand what you mean.
Hey, what do you mean what you mean?
Well, I would have felt really bad if I had cooked him.
You would have never caught me. Look at you in that big metal claptrap.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm glad you think that.
Esphus, my friend, I've got your back. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to clean your hair. So that the... He'll start...
Did I do something wrong?
Oh, that's so sweet. He's grooming you.
Have you upset Pharasma recently?
Well, I'm still breathing, so I suppose not.
So protected by the watchful eye of Resume's Falcon, and still completely blind, the group of you have not much to do other than, well, continue waiting. Eventually, as they always do, Resume and Valia are able to
Resme.
find their way. Renali and Valia are able to find their way back towards the group here. As you're all kind of largely just sitting around at this point, I assume, you wouldn't immediately notice anything out of the ordinary. But going back in, Renali waving a hand. Nothing as far as we could see today. It seems this close to Akrivel. Must still, and then she sees the totem. Or have you shrunken it at this point? Would you have picked it up?
Yeah, no, it's done.
It seems it's close to Akrivel. There is not much the Cinderclaws have been able to reach.
Oh, not anymore.
Dead dragon monkey over there somewhere.
It's okay. There's not much that they can see either.
So she looks at Dalrin trying to just kind of gesture out randomly close to wilderness. And then his eyes are sort of
Just white.
unfocused. Not really looking at anything. Is he? Did you come upon something?
Well, we found the source of the blindness that the Ekujai were speaking of. It's that. The small totem that Resme is now holding.
It'd be in a bag, I assume, at this point.
Yeah.
Tucked away.
Shake it.
Yeah,
the
that
totem
that
bag.
totem was apparently the source of the
Fill
blindness.
out some little Jenga sticks of totems on the ground.
It's a chess set.
And, Valia, this close to Akrivel, I must admit that's somewhat unsettling. Can't be more than 10 or 20 miles away from the Ekujai city. The Leopard clan holdings are so near, and they managed to erect a totem successfully here, activated and all.
The jungle is quite dense, quite large. If they were simply to sneak in, this totem only had one individual guarding it.
Likely they distracted them when they were setting up the assault on Hunter's Gate. The Ekujai would have been completely distracted. They wouldn't have been able to even send scouts out this way. They probably would have called all hunters to go and try to defend the gate.
They not see?
No.
As you can see that you're kind of
No, I can't
facing
see.
vaguely at them, but not exactly towards them.
They were stricken blind temporarily. It's something that I will be able to address in the morning, but for
Yeah,
now
so
they
far
are
it's
blind.
not quite as temporarily as we had hoped, but
Certainly. How long ago did this occur? This
Oh, jeez.
temporarily seems to
30
be wishful
Is that a
45
while?
minutes?
Something like that?
Not long.
a very long time.
It's a long time to be blind, though.
This. One moment. And reaches down and pulls her little book out and starts flipping through
How
it
to
as
deal
always.
with a newly blind.
I swear to God, if she is flipping through that book right now.
Valia, you shouldn't kiss a blind man. It will not bring his sight back if that's what you're looking up.
And though she seems to focus harder on the book, ignoring your dig here. Denali kind of has a hand out in front of Dalren's face, just moving it.
I never
back
thought I'd
and
hate
forth.
the sound of flipping pages.
I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna go.
Roar, is this not something your magics can treat? You have tended to much greater wounds than this, surely.
He already treated me. He really didn't. I mean, he can only prepare so much from one day, and I've got a lot of looking to do, and so he's already got me taken care of.
I detect the sound of barely contained mischief.
Magic users do have their limits. We can be spent.
Well, it is a good thing we are almost back to the Ekujai then.
At the very worst, this is something I can fix in the morning if we just
Well-
rest somewhere nearby.
If this
Lovely.
blindness is something that their hunters have dealt with, they must have some way to overcome it by now. I did not see entire wards full of blind hunters spread throughout the treetops. They must have. Well, they must know something.
Well, true, but we'd have to go move through the jungle 20 miles while blind, and then have to somehow climb our way up into the Ekujai trees, and it probably wouldn't look too good to show up half blind.
I mean, I could carry Twinkle Toes over there, but there's no way I'm carrying both of you guys.
Twinkle Toes? Am I Twinkle Toes?
No, that was Espis.
Oh, okay.
We should be
not.
able to take care of you by the morning.
Call me that again.
It's not
Well-
like you can see me.
I think I also have the ability to help you restore their sight if necessary.
Benali kind of
Excellent.
trying not to smile here. Valia finishing flipping through her book,
Pick up some pebbles and just
Close it.
flick till I hear the tink.
puts it down.
Now, see here, viewer.
Well, you're not going to try and stop me from having a bit of fun, are you?
I don't think I can, actually.
That's a fair point here. I mean,
Valia turns to Rur as she closes the book and shelters again. Very well then. Sir Ashbloom, I've little coin on me at the time. I wish to make a formal request of your deific magic and to the clergy of Seren Ray, and that which is bestowed upon you.
What is it that you need?
Well, we would wish to request for your services to restore the vision of, well...
Are there other blind people?
No, I'm
Touch
pretty
this
sure
around.
that's covered by the friendship provision.
Yeah, this is something that will be addressed in time. I must restore my divine blessings, which will take a rest.
Oh, yes, Valia. He's not holding out because he wants us to pay him.
He's spent.
I simply do not have enough powerful blessings to cure them of their ailment.
Well, of course, but it's, well, uncouth to simply request such healings and sources of magic from the clergy without proper recompense. I mean, of course, I'm no cleric of Abadar, I understand, but still, no clerics work for free. The tithings is what keep the churches going, are they not?
Well, it isn't for free. I do get a portion of the gold that the party receives.
Yes, indeed. Rur's not a hired hand. He's an equal member of our party. We help each other. Hence, for example, well...
He gets hit, I don't. I heal him, he doesn't die.
It's a very convenient arrangement.
Gosh, what's my role?
It's a little game we
Apologize,
play. He puts
I-
it on the bill, I tear up the bill. It's
Yeah.
very convenient.
I apologize. I must have been, well, under a misunderstanding thus far. I assumed that Lady Gladferman had hired the rest of you as bodyguards.
Oh. No, not particularly. Although, now that I think about it, I suppose I
It's
could
not
understand
that
it.
far off,
It's not
I mean.
that far off. Except we don't really... We're more of equal partners in the arrangement, but we do behave as bodyguards, so I
It-
suppose that
it-
And
makes
her
sense.
eyes, just for a brief moment, flick to Buford and Beck. You're all
Completely miss it.
equal. Interesting. So, you didn't come here as Lord Stoutmore had done under Safari with your retinue, your bodyguards, a cleric to assist you with his divine magics and his wayfinding. You. So, Miss Renali, then, and she looks at Renali and really just. I cannot follow when you talk.
She owes us a solid.
Well, it's an alliance of mutual interest. Perhaps you
She's
can
also-
understand that at least. It may be a bit of an informal one, certainly not codified by an agreement and signed, but...
Oh, of course. This was simply a misunderstanding on my part. Just the one moment. Pulls the book back up and starts flipping a little more hastily through the pages.
Look,
Flipping more through that book? I don't understand what
While
needs to
she's
look up in
flipping
this
through the book, I'll give her the short recount of how we got here and why Renali is working with us.
So, as you're setting the record straight here, there is still a camp to be arranged, and unfortunately, Esphis can't see anything, which is
Oh.
going to make it.
I'll take care of it.
I'll
Where's
assist.
Buford sneaking. So, resume then. Go ahead and give me your survival check.
The bird's totally moving out of your way, so you can do it.
Just remember, Buford, I know where you sleep, and I'm quieter than you.
You could just follow the trail of armor.
Okay.
+2.
Thank you. It's gonna be...
Clanking over.
Clink. Aha! He's close. Tink, 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 tink.
You guys. It's gonna be a 32.
Okay, so with we got some new. All numbers get bigger, and with higher level. So with the 32, this is what this tab is for.
The 19 I
Is
rolled
this a
also helped.
critical?
I think this is actually a critical. It is. That is in fact a critical success, which means your camp is going to be spectacularly camouflaged and hidden away to an extent where there's virtually no chance anything could stumble upon you in the night.
How will also cast alarm, just in case.
Double secure.
Because I don't trust no one and nothing anymore.
The tree sloths.
So alarm doesn't cover, like, how many castings of alarm do you have? Because it does only cover about a 10-foot burst of an area.
20-foot burst.
20-foot burst. So that's
It's a fireball of security.
yeah. If you put it on top
Yeah.
of you, like it will wake you up when stuff is mid-stab, largely.
But it will wake everyone.
It will
up.
wake
It
everyone
will
up.
make
though.
everyone up.
But it will. You can make it with a loud noise that will wake everyone up.
And to
See if
answer
they're
your
going for
question,
you.
I have several. It's a regular level 1 sorcery spell, so I have a lot of.
No, I was
castings.
just saying, if you want to spread it further
That's
around,
fine.
then
I'll cast it
immediately
like
on top
I'll
of
cast
you.
it like 3 times.
It would take
and that
you a
should
few
cover.
of them.
Does it?
I feel like the sloth hand is right here. Ding, 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 ding.
It's just gone. Everyone wakes up. Where'd Resme
I
go?
heard the alarm.
Does it get bigger?
I don't think so.
No, it just does. You can specify criteria for it. At
Yeah, you
later
can have like a
levels.
pass.
Like you can
for
say
the
like
alarm
vampire
shell,
tree
basically.
sloths don't trigger the alarm if you want.
I don't know why on earth you
Or
would
like
want
really
that
tiny
specifically.
people don't trigger the alarm.
So as the camp is being prepared and the sun is finally starting to sink down towards the horizon, the jungle darkening fairly early as the canopy always blocks out a decent amount of light. Finally, Dalren and Esvis's vision starts to return to them.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh, lovely. Spectacular. Spectacular. Esvis, I'm better. Are you... Oh my goodness, he's not moving. Are you not better?
I think Buddy gave him a wet willy and he hasn't recovered yet.
I would never. That was Rur. If I've ever seen him in my whole life, Rur walked right up to him. Right. That was Rur.
Do you have a hairball in your ear?
See? He knows.
Pretty sure
'Cause
that's a
was-
feather.
If it was a hairball in your ear, that was me. I've got very fuzzy hands.
What
Both
ear?
of you sleep well tonight.
I always sleep well.
I'll rekey
What
the
kind
alarm.
of a threat is that?
Rekey the alarm for Esvis.
And at some point during the waiting, I would have healed myself because I'm actually really hurt. So,
Well, they can't watch. Nobody can see your injuries, but with some magic you have left readying for sleep and a pretty spectacularly camouflaged camp, you're all ready to rest for an evening in surprising comfort here. Renali and Vali didn't find anything up to the north, believing seriously you just like tripped over every possible totem. So it seems on the way back to Akrivel. But the following morning, as you awaken to an actually clear, sunny sky and, for once, no wetness of any kind coming down from above, I imagine you're going to continue along with largely the same thing you've been going with so far.
Yeah,
You go
might as
one
well.
direction, Renali goes the other, and you'll
Well,
meet together in Akrivel.
Although
it's
that
going to really
opens-
irk me if that's
Yeah, that's going to bother me to heck. Can she go south and then we'll just take the low road?
Yep.
We
You
could
don't-
actually go back to Akrivel one day later to actually hit both of these.
You
Just
don't want to leave that
to help
one,
our OCD.
the one unexplored nugget down.
Today's
at
a
the-
one-tile day.
That is a one tile, yeah. So you can't get back today anyway.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, no, send her south. We'll go this way. She can go north and we'll go to Akrivel. It'll be beautiful.
Fair enough.
Also, I'm going to have 2 heightened restorations prepared. We got fancy cards now. With all the
Yay.
Oh
spells
yeah,
on
the
them.
new spell cards that came out. Again, as this provider of all cool things for our show to run a little more effectively. Got the entire set of them, and I feel like this is a dramatic improvement over the printed screen captures of the Archives of Nethys realms we have been using so far.
So, taking a little bit of an extra long preparation for the day, I will cast 2 heightened 4th level restorations to cure the drained status of myself and Esvis. And unfortunately, I'll have to wait another day to handle you, Resume.
You're good. As I said, this is something that women are used to.
So this magic you have now, this heightened restoration, this is a pretty powerful purging you have here, because it's not like they're under some kind of a magical effect. They are literally missing several liters of blood.
This is a magical
that has
blood
been
bag.
sucked away. Yeah, this is almost an enchanted blood transfusion that is so strong. Just like your lighter magics can bind skin and flesh back together like stitches, this quite literally puts the blood back into their body. It's
You see a slight hue come back to Esvis's face.
Only slight.
Only
just
slight.
a little bit of color restores back to Esvis. Not that he didn't have a ton in the first place. But you are going to immediately feel the difference.
So, Master Dalrin, what exercises shall I do today as we travel?
Well, we'll start by carrying this pack.
Oh, okay.
She just collapses.
Bonk.
Oh, a pack.
Oh, no, I've got it. I'm good.
Yep.
I'm good.
Very good, very good. I'll check on you in about an hour. The weight will probably start to wear on you, but that's the important thing, is to get used to carrying moving around with a bit less freedom than you're used to.
Okay.
When drained is cured, do you get the 6 back, or does it stay gone?
I would imagine you just get it back. If your spell is powerful enough to remove the drained condition, it would certainly restore the health that you had lost from being drained as well. So as you travel through the jungle for the day, back close to Akrivel, Brunali and Valia sent off just on a bit askew to, cover your tracks here, make sure that you have explored all of the ground, at least in the general southeast direction of Akrivel, to make sure there's not any other totems in the immediate vicinity.
They just built a ring around all of
That sounds questiony to me.
Oh,
Lot of,
if for resistance training, like training to wear armor, would that be like fort saves or will saves or what have you?
I imagine if you are working with Dalra now and you're just actually carrying this hefty pack with you throughout the day, it'd absolutely be like a fortitude save against fatigue, to be sure.
Especially since I'm trained 1.
Yeah, and you're also like I imagine completely at your bulk limit here, and the jungle is not friendly.
She is encumbered.
She is encumbered, having a difficult time. So yeah, as you journey through the day, you can roll me a fortitude save for sure.
I'm cucumbered.
Do your best.
That's gonna be a 27.
So with a 27, surprisingly, although it feels absolutely exhausting at first, the longer you walk throughout the day bearing this pack, almost the easier it becomes. You get used to it and kind of even get into a bit of a stride with this extra weight. A lot faster than really anybody expects, honestly.
I should take on an apprentice more often. They can carry my things.
Secretly,
you're
what
pretty
no
good at
one
this.
notices is the birds on the back of the pack flapping its little heart out.
Governor, we didn't discuss this in my service contract.
But you're doing perfectly fine. You're not going to be fatigued or anything. That's actually going to be pretty straightforward for you. But through most of the day, as you kind of make a bit of a circuitous route back to Akrivel, you don't see much of interest. You don't see any signs of any other kind of activity. There's certainly no totems within an actual 10-mile radius of Akrivel.
Oh! What?
Hold on. It's actually because of how I've changed the settings now with the sound. It's actually going to be pretty freaking loud.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I gotta get everyone's attention. I just played the totem
Play the
laser
totem
sound.
laser.
Absolutely everybody knows what that means at this point.
Step into Akrivel.
It's like,
What?
what happened?
It's like, wait, what?
And the morning passes with your normal journey, breaking for some food, heading into the afternoon, and traveling almost towards the beginning of the sun setting without any kind of instant or any interactions whatsoever, really. This, you believe, is still within the area that the Ekajai hunters are capable of patrolling. From what they told you before, what was functionally be on the maps, the hexes that are immediately adjacent to Akrivel, to the southeast, and then everything up to the west and the north, they could still patrol those areas perfectly fine without any kind of infliction. So it makes sense that these areas aren't somewhere that, Cinderclaws could really just set up and ready themselves and do horrible operations. The same thing that happened to the Hunters game. They just possibly got a little overzealous and got found out. So you'd come to a fine enough space, fairly secluded, seeming to lead into a mostly open clearing, but with enough large, thick undergrowth and vinery on either side to make it difficult for you to set upon. Prepare yourselves to set up the camp for the evening and wait for Benali and everyone to come by. And Esphis, now that you can see, if you want to return to this task.
Okay.
Cool. Take +2.
Very nice. Thank you.
Can you have multiple people assist?
No.
So that'll put us at a 31.
So with 31, as you're getting heading into this clearing here, getting everything laid out and ready, setting up the netting, figuring out how you're going to camouflage this to some extent, you are set upon from nowhere with no warning whatsoever. Bursting out from this growth and from the tree line comes what looks like a small horde of Chiruka, barreling forth, weapons raised, sickles in hand, directly towards you. Clearly, they are prepared. They haven't just stumbled upon you or anything. You haven't just happened into Chiruka territory. You're less than 15 miles from Akrivel at this point. And this group here seems like they have absolutely just tracked you down.
I wonder if they're upset about the totems. Do you think they're upset about the totems?
Well, I don't know. We'd better ask them.
Let's see if they're wearing cultist
Starting to
icons.
get very annoyed with these things.
Well, there's a lot of them, so.
And as all of these Chiruka burst forth from the tree line, of course, we're going to need some initiative. And the cool cards and the hero points, not the only neat things I have acquired. I got the Age of Ashes pawn box, which literally showed up yesterday. So
Nice.
guess who actually has Chiruka tokens?
So many Chiruka tokens.
It is me. Take all of those. Take one of these for that one that is the northernmost. And then take one of these for the one furthest in the back. They should largely match up with what the actual icons are. That one, I can ping on the map.
Where's Trident Guy? That's Trident
That's Trident Guy. And then back here is Giant Cleaver Guy.
Gotcha.
Look at that. Look at that magic. Look at the actual Chiruka tokens instead of the completely random assortment of small tokens I happen to have for Bestiary Box 1.
So I guess real quick, a recall knowledge on the guys who look like they're leading this. Are
When
they
your
any
initiative
different?
comes.
Isn't that before combat starts?
It is when your initiative comes.
Oh.
That's when you react. Esvis.
37.
Master Perception coming in spicy here. Rurk.
30.
And Dalren.
20.
We
We get
jumping
plus
down
one,
by
right?
10,
Yeah, everyone
so-
gets +1 because of my feet.
Esvis. Or Resume, I was listening to you talk.
33.
And Buddy.
34.
Ooh.
You got him. Alrighty, so there's one here clearly, seemingly in the lead of this pack of Chiruka as they burst forth. One wielding a trident in one hand as he bursts forth from the tree line. And he is going to come out with a 22. And the rest...
A 22.
You got 20, did you not?
I got a 30.
I got a 20.
Oh, you got a 20. 20 was the bottom, right? This is second edition initiative. It starts at like 27.
Yeah, get with it.
And the rest of the Chiruka mooks, unsurprisingly, at this point, I would be very disappointed in all of you if anybody lost initiative to the Chiruka mooks at this point. Because we are far past that by now. And then one more.
We're starting to recognize the signs of the howling monkeys approaching.
Setting right in here. Keep in mind, okay, which was which.
I love how perfectly this fits one entire section.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. If I have 3 enemy tokens and the 5 of you guys, it's exactly one section of the GM screen. So, Esvis, as you are around setting up here, I suppose this would this is this little nestled area you found in between a good amount of cover. You are the first to react to the not exactly subtle Chiruka coming through the underbrush here. Now, they're coming through about the thickest part, and they're making no real subtlety. They're not hiding themselves at all. They have a lot of dense jungle to actually push through to even get to where you're starting to set up.
Okay. All right. I will free action activate my boots. And right. I will move into the thick undergrowth over to here. I now have fleet, so I have a speed of 35.
Ooh, he's fast, dude. He's got fast feet.
And I'm going to hunt prey on the trident one here.
Okay.
And I will hunted shot for 2 quick arrows. So, first shot. I'm gonna spend my session reroll on that for to start things off. If I'm gonna go first, I gotta land a first strike somehow.
You gotta open it up.
Gotta open it up. It's a little cocked. But I'll sit on it. 23.
The want. 23, again, these are like the Chiruka. They have at best like hide and leathers on them. They're not particularly well armored. And as he comes forth, trident raised, 23 is solidly going to catch him.
Okay, and second shot is 26.
26 to strike as well.
Okay. And these are all combined for resistances and things like this. So two quick arrows, just one in each shoulder. So,
Very consistent.
yeah, seriously. So that'll be 20 points of magical piercing damage, just as 2 arrows just thunk straight into the shoulders.
So a solid 2 hits on this trident-wielding Chiruka, but he does seem to be a lot physically stronger than most of the standard linemen. And it seems to be one of their chieftains, their leaders here, who's got a bit more to him. And those 2 hits aren't going to be nearly enough to stop him, regardless of his small size. Buddy, you see Esvis react, and you hear the screeching monkeys.
And Esvis
Zero
just
subtlety
like,
there.
He like shoots off.
Snap reflex.
Okay, well, I didn't even expect to run into trouble around here, so I'm gonna draw my hammer.
He's naked again.
I really didn't think we were gonna run into any problems. And then I'm going to move in between Dalrin and Rur, in front of Rur, and then I'm going to shield.
Hey, resume as you're helping arrange the camp. And they kind of scramble their defense.
Resme will focus out in the middle of the group of Chiruka and wave her hand and shout, Confucius. And plants will grow up from the ground and spread out like vines in every single solitary direction, entrapping the feet of the Chiruka and making it really difficult for them to move. I'm going to cast Entangle.
Okay.
It's a 20-foot burst at range 120 feet, and they need to make reflex saves.
At the start of their turn.
At the start of their turn, or else take a minus 10-foot circumstance penalty to their speed until they leave the area.
Okie dokie. So as this rides up around the feet of all of the Chiruka here, the plants grasping and pulling at them, that leaves you with 1 action left, I do believe.
I'm going to shield. 'Cause they could throw monkey dung at me or something.
Well, guys we have found, they throw rocks pretty well.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
seem to
they're
be
really
pretty
throwing rocks.
solid at thing throwing, so I definitely, if there's a thing I'm going to bag on, it's definitely not the throwing. From the back, you see one of these one of these kind of half-dragon priests rise up on a berm with a staff in hand, and you see again the sword at his hip, not even drawn, and that strange, lengthy tail winding around.
It'd be really inconvenient if he could make the ground explode like the last one.
And he stands up and raises his staff, kind of pointing, almost gesturing towards the group of you setting up your camp. And he yells out in Mwangi, "The deceivers! We have found them! The hawk purges from this world!" And surges down to the ground and crackling underneath the group of you.
Oh, dear.
The ground seems to split as
no,
a
no,
gout
no.
of lava bursts up across everybody but Esvis. And I'm going to need y'all to make me some reflex saves. No.
No.
That's going to be a session reroll because
I'm
that
halfling
is
looking
not
mine.
good.
Ooh, all these rerolls.
Oops, sorry.
I love rerolls. That was on me.
Well, it went from an 8 to a 20.
Hey!
To 30.
Definitely
Much
a
better.
solid improvement. All right, so
Rick dives into the bag of holding real quick.
just pulls it down over his legs and pops back out. All right, so you got a
Natural 20.
Okay, so you critically succeed.
27.
You succeed.
Also 27.
You succeed.
28.
And so you all succeed. So everybody's taking half from this blast, and then kind of prepared for it this time. It's
Do I take half or no?
You don't.
you can take anything.
anything.
You critically
Okay.
succeed.
I know that sometimes there's weird ones where it's like even a critical doesn't matter.
Are
This is
there?
actually kind
In
of
first edition. I don't know about
kind of
second edition.
interesting here. As the ground cracks, these gouts of lava shoot up in reams and lines out from where the ground has split. So all of you at this point, having seen this before and kind of expecting it, are able to fit yourselves just between these sheets. So it's actually not going to do anything to anybody.
okay.
Success allows you to avoid it entirely.
Wow, okay.
And there's
As it
the
is
other end of
Yeah,
that.
it is a bunch of straight, thin lines of this blast,
Like
and a
mini
quick
fissures.
gout before, individual fissures before it all recedes and kind of disappears.
To the Truke, it just looks like we're all hacking.
Thanks for the warning, Master Dalrin.
Rur.
Well, I see a nice little bush right over. Well, first, I guess recall knowledge on. Is there a new one? You said one has like a big sword or a cleaver.
Cleaver?
No,
guy?
yeah, that's the one in the back. I mean, it looks like it's the same thing you've dealt with before. It's just none of these look like they are a brand new experience. You've got one of those kind of half dragon ones in the back with the volcano prayer.
I
You've got
remember
the-
that those don't let us use fire.
You've got the trident wielding guy in the front who looks similar to the leader that had brought his forces against you and Renavo when you'd moved from Hunter's Gate, and then a bunch of what look like standard line Chirukas. So none of them individually look like anything you haven't seen before. This is just a fairly powerful and potent force of them to be so close by.
All right. Well, if that's the case, I need a will save from all of them as a calm emotions bursts in the middle of them.
All right, so all of the lads are going to get a 12.
Wait,
I think it's a critical fail.
they can't do anything,
That was a critical fail.
and we can beat them.
The leader in the front with the trident is going to come out with an 18.
He can't do anything.
That's a critical failure.
No,
for
it's
him?
just
No,
normal
that's
fail.
he can't do anything. We can beat the others,
Oh, okay.
and they still can't do anything.
And the
Okay.
priest in the back is going to get a 21.
It's also a fail.
They can't do anything.
As they are actively being attacked by Entangle, if anyone hits...
If they
Anyone,
if
they
they
are-
get hit, yeah. If they get hit, but the ones that critically failed,
But as you
they
cast this
can't
over
do
them, they
anything even
do
if they get hit.
seem to slow their assault here even further. And that leaves you with one action.
No, move and.
Oh,
two
you
actions.
moved over and used it. That's
Yeah.
right.
And I'll let everyone know they can't fight back right now. Just a quick, they're helpless.
So,
Makes me feel rather unsporting about this.
as he sees this one in the front, he's make a reflex save. He's trying to move, and the ground, the entangle winds up around him. He is going to get a 29, but I think he's just slowed a little.
Yeah, he's just slowed a
He
little.
loses some movement speed, and sees this blast of lava, and absolutely nothing has been done to the group of you. Sees absolutely nothing whatsoever. And he stabs down kind of at the plants surging up around him and turns back to the half dragon almost in a panic. It has spared them! The fire! It does not touch them! And doesn't seem to know what the heck to do.
Dahak thinks you're dumb.
I guess just for your reference.
Dalrin.
Well then, I suppose. No. We'll focus on this later. For now, though, we have some things to deal with. Lightning's going to crackle up. I'll switch over to Draconic, actually.
You know they don't speak that. Don't bully them. You know the one guy does.
The last Truka I talked to who were prisoners totally spoke it. That's how I
Oh,
talked
the
to them.
Truka do. The Boggard's down. I understand. The Truka do actually have Draconic. I am not. I am the
If not,
dumb
I'm just
dumb.
about to say
There's
something.
so
I have
many,
no idea.
so many fantasy races to keep straight here. Right, they do. You're right.
Your dragon's soul is weak, and lightning will blast out in a line, just ripping through the formation that's in front of them. So it goes 60 feet out. I don't suppose you have a handy measuring tool, because going the diagonals
One
is
of
a
the
little
faults of
weird.
Arcane Forge is I do not have a measuring tool.
Ah.
So
It's very sad. So I think I can get...
I think it's just not gonna reach the priest and the back
I
too.
think it's just the
it'll hit
back line.
basically anyone else to you. It's a line, right?
It's a line, yeah, so I have to base it, and it goes from me. So I think I can hit this guy, and I think I can hit this guy, and I
Yeah.
think it'll vanish just before it hits this guy in the face.
So coming straight out from where you are,
Yeah.
it looks like you can blast the front two Chiruka with it pretty easily. I'd say they're lined up well enough.
These two? Okay, I'll hit them then.
And they need some reflex saves while the plants are just surging over them. It's gonna be a 17 and a 19.
Those
That's gonna
both
fail.
They're kind of being absorbed by plants.
Okay, so lightning bolt
Nutrients.
for 27 lightning damage.
They are both just absolutely incinerated.
Yay, fried
As
monkey!
as they kind of freeze and just get completely absorbed by this.
It's electric.
Do, 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 do.
Super
and you know
gun.
it's there.
And the other two Chiruka are gonna make para-reflex saves with 17 and 12. One of them's very stuck. One of them's mostly stuck. And
They can't
This big
move.
flower is just starting to eat this one.
gonna fail an athletics check to break out. Get a natural 20 on the second one. So he's only got one move action and a massively reduced movement speed, so he's actually only gonna move this far. Whereas the other one, pulling himself out of this, just takes off into the jungle in a full panicked retreat
Like gone.
back away off into the distance. He's clearly fleeing the field at this point.
Cleaver Chiruka did that?
No, that
Oh,
was
I grabbed the wrong
the two random mooks.
Okay.
They were in the back. The two mooks that are left. As this lightning ripples through them here, and he sees his forces breaking. One with the trident turns back around towards the group. His fear quelled a bit as he starts shrieking and yelling angrily. And as this frenzy overcomes him, he is going to surge forward as he can towards the source of all of the lightning explosion, triple moving and then lunging out with a trident towards Dalren.
Did he get hit?
He has the incapacitate trait. He is too high level to be affected by convulsions.
Oh.
And he's
interesting.
going to strike out with a 27.
27 will hit me cleanly.
As Calm Emotions is only a second level spell, a creature of over 4th level gets a pretty big boost to they just get tears up on their saves.
This is my first time
So yeah,
encountering
it's near outright immunity if they're too strong, and they literally cannot critically fail. His failure became a success because he is too strong for that magic.
So low
But he
level
takes
saber
a
soft
minus-
just doesn't work.
Not anymore. Nope. You cannot just pack around a second level spell that insta-wins
Cool.
fights the whole game anymore.
probably
You
makes
can
sense.
heighten Calm
Yeah.
Emotions and cast it as a 4th level spell.
Does he still get the -1 because he got a
He did get that
success?
was with the -1.
Okay.
So he basicly got a success.
Gotcha.
He is.
That's why I just
and
handed you the
Yeah,
card,
he basically
because-
got a success and held because he's like, but yeah, this is our first interaction with using the incapacitation trait that is fantastic because it stops you from just carrying on low-level knockout spells forever. He is going to stab. Doesn't affect damage. It
No,
does
it's
not,
it's
no.
just a -1 to offensive actions.
So he is going to hit you for 13 damage.
And
13
my
damage?
shield slides in between them, knocking his weapon almost all the way out, and it just barely nicks Dalren. You take 10 less.
So I'll take 1.
Doesn't that make it hit you instead if you block?
No, that's actually a feat that I can take.
Oh, but you
later
don't
I
have
will
it
be
yet.
taking
Okay,
it.
okay.
I will be taking it later, but it's for higher level.
So you take 3 damage then.
Oh, 3
15
damage.
minus
Okay,
10.
yeah. And then it just bounces into my temporary hit points. So it just kind of like,
Yeah.
All right, and that brings us back around to Esvis.
All right, I'm going to move back through the underbrush just so I can make sure I'm at 30, so I'm not penalized by volley for my longbow.
Okay, so the boots, free action for 1 round to ignore difficult terrain once per minute.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have the boot effect on anymore. So you are going to be. It gives you a burst to run through difficult terrain, and we finally can close the book on what the heck boots of Elvenkind do.
Fair enough. But that's fine. I've got 35 movement, so even I'm
You
sure I
can
can.
move.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be fine. Just as long
Yeah,
as
that's you can get back around the tree, and then you'd be pretty much at exactly 30 shooting around the tree at him.
Okay, and I will do Hunted Shot yet again for 2 more arrows at our trident friend here, trying to engage on my friends. And so first shot is a 28,
28 will hit.
and second shot is a 29.
29 will also hit. Not high on armor and defenses, these Chiruka.
Indeed.
They sort of just plow forward.
Works better when there's more of them.
All right, so let's see. For math is hard. So for 29 more piercing, 2 arrows just sticking into the shoulders for another pair.
And as he's got like 4 of these arrows now that have hit him sticking out of him, he's not very large. He's still a pretty small Chiruka, but he seems to be taking these pretty well in stride, almost just in this shrieking frenzy, too angry to even seem to notice who's being hit here.
And then I will take cover and take a free stealth.
I love that feat.
Ye olden disappearance.
For a 25.
Alrighty. Buddy.
Okay, I am going to bring my hammer out to try and knock this guy back. And oh no, it would be shoving towards Rur. I can't shove him away from Dalrin, can I?
Yeah, you can shove him like cone, basically.
Cone, okay,
so,
okay.
So you can shove him straight. The way I say it, because it's not super clear, you can shove him straight back, or you can shove him like at a
Okay.
diagonal from where
Perfect.
you
Yeah,
are.
I'd like to
You just can't like shove
him.
him into you or another direction.
Yeah. Okay. So
That's
I'm
how I
gonna try
play.
and
That's
shove
how we
him
play it.
away from Dalrin here. It's not great, but not terrible either. That is a 24.
24. Again, despite his size and this fury, he seems to be able to hold his ground fairly well. Twisting and writhing and even just planting his little like toe fingers into the dirt to get enough of a grip that you can't easily shove him away.
Okay, and then I'll be like, you better start running, boy, and try and intimidate.
Hey.
Yeah, pretty good. So that's a 29. But I also do not speak Moangi or
So, yeah.
Draconic.
So it'll be a 25 because he doesn't understand the words that you're saying.
It's okay. It's the thought that counts.
Yeah, it really is in this case. He definitely seems to get the message.
And then I'm going to, and then I'll raise my shield and be like, I'm ready.
What appears to be a metal golem starts yelling at you and it reverberates in the helmet. That's a little intimidating.
It's alarming, if nothing else.
He is spooked. He's a little spooked. All right, Resme.
Resme, seeing that this thing is a little bit out of control, is going to slow his roll a little and cast Temporis out to slow him. So he can go ahead and make me a reflex save.
It's definitely a fortitude save.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
which
right.
I also think I discovered.
I have
so
the dumb.
100% a fortitude save. I might use it wrong. We'll let it ride. He is going to get a 19.
that is going to fail. So he is slowed 1 for a minute.
Yeah.
So
For the rest of the game experience.
yes.
All right.
And then I will shield again.
Okie dokie. I'm keeping this guard in front of you. That brings us back to the priest in the back here, who seems equally kind of bewildered by the fact that this doesn't appear to have done anything to the group of you. After a couple of blinks, he puts his hand back down to the ground again. Nonsense! There's no power on this world can resist the Hawk's flame! And the volcano just kind of erupts underneath the group of you again. It's still big enough to catch all 4 of you. But notably, the fissures, as one heads right towards the Chiruka in front of you, splits almost perfectly around him, seeming to avoid him entirely. And then he reflex saves from the 4 of you again.
I may
gods
session
love me.
reroll. I can't just let him think that it does damage.
Hey.
You can't let him think his abilities do things.
Yeah. Oh well, it was close enough.
the hat falls into it and you dive in to protect it.
Yeah.
So, Rare.
20.
20's gonna fail. Buddy.
13.
13's gonna critically fail.
Yep.
Dalren.
25.
That's gonna succeed.
30.
That's gonna succeed as well. So, Buddy and Rur
It's elf power.
are both going to be knocked to the ground, unable to avoid, as their kind of attention is drawn by this trident-wielding Chiruka in the front here. And you get take virtually no damage. Rur's going to take 5 damage, and Buford is going to take 10. I rolled 5 on 3d6.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Wow.
That's impressive.
he
Maybe
sees a
he has
couple of
less
you.
power than he thought.
He's a little concerned by how little this clearly seems to be doing to the group of you.
Look, he's just not good at his
His
job.
doubt is growing here. And he sort of looks at his own hand. And then looks up to the sky. Rur.
In Mwangi, I'm going to say over to him, we have the blessing of our own god of fire and sun. And I will sustain the calm emotions because we still have this one guy that it's dealing with. And
He is still being slowed by it. There you go.
I will stand back up and I will move forward towards him.
Menacingly. All right, Dalren.
Again, kind of pirouetting between the cracks of explosions, and kind of just ignoring the singeing ends of his hair. As the fire just kind of starts to die down again, he spins the geese arm out to catch the Chiruka in the legs to kind of try to pinwheel him sideways and then drop him prone. And again, just kind of shouting in Draconic, weak! Your soul is weak and your faith is weak. I was hoping that first trip with a master would do better. It's all right. That's
you
what
have to
session
say.
rerolls, actually. That's right.
Give me
Thank
that
you.
silver
Have a
coin.
session reroll.
Okie
Have a
dokie.
session.
Come on, knock
ahead.
him down. I want to pinwheel.
That's all of them. That's all 5 session rerolls.
I want to pinwheel a monkey. I might. That's going to be, goodness, 32.
32 will knock him prone.
Boink.
Boom! On the ground he goes. And
Sick.
finish it up with a slash downward with the geese arm. It's 21 with him prone.
21 with him prone will hit.
Woo!
Just barely unable to roll away from it in time.
I would imagine that's very disorienting. Swept off your feet and in
Yeah,
the same
just
action it
slam.
just gets brought down.
For 30 lightning damage.
Oh, geez.
He's a non-critical.
So a
Weapon spec with
weapon
Dragon Rage.
specialization's a hell of a drug. A solid hit, but while the rest of the Chiruka minions just seem to be in a full retreat at this point with absolutely no willingness to continue this battle, and their leaders having to be focused on, well, continuing the battle, that is just...
Third action?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. I just want to intimidate the shout weak souls.
He's already scared, but okay.
Okay. Well, I meant this guy in the back.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, natural
20
Ooh,
with a
baby.
29 total.
Pretty sure Intimidate has a 3-foot range.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Even with intimidating glare?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't demoralize him with his explosions? Not
Yeah,
working? Okay.
you
Well, I
can-
mean, I'll do him then.
Did you get natural 20, though?
Yeah, I did get
Oh,
him.
he's frightened 2 then instead of frightened 1. So he's more frightened. I mean, he got something. So on the ground, prone, slowed, frightened, and calmed.
Somehow.
He's very upset by this overwhelming pile of emotions that are being forced upon him. So he's also going to rage, just to go ahead and add another one. So, assuming the burst into this
tearing himself
shrieking fury continuing into a just incredible bloodlust, not even pulling himself up from the ground. He's just going to flip his trident around and jab it upwards. So what is your minus motion, right? And so, okay.
He's like
Minus
plus
5, right?
2.
Jab it upward is -5. Yeah, he's -5 on the side. Great. 25.
25 just hits, actually. I'm not taking him seriously.
Yeah, and still manages to land a decent hit here.
And he looks up into, he sees
He
the
cannot
sun.
handle additional emotions right now. I'm sorry.
He sees the sun behind this figure that's just larger than life seeming, with like lightning crackling, speaking, shouting out Draconic, like really is like, is this
Maybe I should
actually,
worship
is
that.
that, are we on the right side
This
here?
only makes him more angry. And this Triton thrusts up in the Dalren for 19 points of damage.
Pish posh.
Minus some amount.
-8.
11. then
11
temporary hit points. So, I actually took 5 points of damage.
11 points of damage. And as it strikes into you, the jagged tips of this, him sort of spinning the haft as he strikes, it's actually going to draw a little significant amount of blood as well as it slices through you. And as he strikes this quick motion, he pulls the trident back almost as part of that and just licks the blood off of the blade in just a frenzy at this point. Now also enfeebled on the list of things that he has. So,
Cards for him now. Now we're throwing cards on you.
as he does, you see him steady himself, sort of reinvigorate just the sheer bloodlust helping him to hang on here. But he is charmed, frightened, prone, enfeebled, raging, and
Slow.
invigorated and slowed. He has the whole thing.
Well, we got to get diseased and poisoned in there.
Yes.
I got your back.
If it matters, he is prey too, so.
He's also prey. He doesn't even know what
Wait.
planet he's on
Pinned
anymore.
in a second.
Dayhawk, take me!
So I'm going to start things off with Hunter's Aim to get an additional +2 to this swing.
Yeah, he's
I
definitely.
don't even know what his AC is anymore. Just roll me a number.
Slowly focusing this next arrow. 34.
I'm sure that critically hits.
Now he's pinned on top of it.
He's not-
Poor guy. All the status
that
effects
he
are his.
actually, yeah, and now that arrow is also pinning him to the ground, so. It's,
Right as he brings that arm up to lick the thing, it's just thunk.
oh.
Okay, so for 22 points of
We're
piercing.
gonna go ahead and add dead to the list.
Well, good, because he was about to be agitated.
And now
Status
he's an object.
defects, this, you know, and with that arrow striking through, right through his chest, sticking him to the ground, no amount of fury seems to be able to keep him fighting on through that. Even that temporary HP is not going to save him there.
And then I will hunt prey, the priest, in the back, and that's the end of my turn.
You're preying on a priest.
Buddy,
I'm gonna wave my fist at this other guy and go, get out of here, shoot! Don't I know it's like too far away. I guess I could move up and try and get it within. How far can I move? Because I'm a slow guy.
Well, you're prone.
I could get up and then I can move.
so getting up and moving, there you get there to one action, which isn't
I
going to be
still
close
can't go.
enough to yell at him now.
Okay, well I'm gonna walk towards him menacingly and wave my arms and kind of shoo him.
Get out!
Go on, get.
Do you want to take a set? Do you want to use your last action moving too?
I can. Nah, I don't want to
You
go.
can get
I don't
2
really
squares
like.
further.
I'm not a huge fan of difficult terrain because I'm a slow guy. So I'll just raise my shield just for.
Is this the Iomade exorcism? Go and get!
Get out of here, you.
Say your jungle no more. Get. Resume.
Resme has absolutely no desire to kill this helpless thing if she can avoid it. So she is going to attempt to. She's going to cast fear on him.
Fear?
Higher level fear, though.
Okay.
So he needs to make a will save.
Okie dokie. And he is here. That is going to be a 34. Wow.
That will
I
just.
think that'll critically succeed.
No, it won't.
Your DC should be 23.
No, it's my spell save DC, which is 25.
you're expert now.
You went
I'm
to expert.
expert now,
You
so no.
finally get expert at 7, so it actually got a big old bump there.
So he's still frightened 1.
Alrighty. He, too, is a little shaken now. At least you have 1 action left.
I will. She'll actually take out a dagger that Dalrin gave her to practice with, and she'll actually guard up.
A knife. It's knife fighting time.
My knife's super sharp.
And that's what counts.
Now, as this fear kind of takes hold of him a little bit here, and he says the second volcanic blast having done, again, just nearly nothing. Kind of shaking. Pila Flamai! And wells up a little red bead of energy and just tosses it out towards the group of you, where it is going to erupt violently in a fireball, catching Buford, Dalren, and Resme in its blast. He is frightened, so the DC actually goes down. You don't throw it as good, I guess.
Is that a reflex?
Mm-hmm.
Reflex, yeah.
22.
21.
They, both gonna fail.
19.
That team's also gonna fail. No critical fails, though. So this blast of fire, his own personal magic, finally seeming to land decently. The group of you are going to take 18 fire damage as this blast across you, fizzling and disappearing in an instant, leaving just the ground smoldering here.
You'll see the soul of her brother lurch up in front of her and take the brunt of it for
He
her.
raises up the staff. I know not what shields you, but my magic works fine! And reaches across and draws out his longsword with his other hand. He's Gandalf in it. He's got a staff in one hand and a longsword in the other.
It's very small, Gandalf.
That's
Tiny
so
Gandalf.
played out.
Rur.
If your magic works fine, then let me strike it from your mind. And I'm going to cast Crisis of Faith
You stupid.
with Reach, letting Calm Emotions drop.
Alrighty. That's a will save.
Yes.
He gets a 26.
He succeeds, so he takes half damage. Where'd my other D8 go? I have another one. I don't know where it is now. 11, 25, 27. So he takes 13. Of course, they're in the middle of all my other dice. Yep.
As he starts to take this little mental effect back, Dalren.
Kind of gleaming at the little jumping thing in the distance. This magic
It's
shields
wound
us.
up with this entangle, but it's not moving. So
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to care a whole lot.
There's no magic that shields us. Your soul is weak. Didn't you hear me? And I'm just going to sprint over here, and I'm pretty sure I can just do it just fine with 3 moves. Let me see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Yeah, that's fine. I actually have 70 with 2 move actions, so I can zip right over here just north of the tree.
Okay.
And that leaves me an action left, and I think he's within 30. So I'm actually going to go and... well, I'm going to move over here first, and then I'm going to use that Demoralize.
I'm gonna yell around the tree.
Yeah.
You only see him here. You just yell around the tree.
The problem is I trip over a root. You see this
Out of view.
extra one, and I'm out of... I'm like, your soul is weak! And just like fall behind the tree.
Not a super intimidating moment for you, Espis.
Since he is prey, going to pull one arrow and slowly focus for Hunter's aim. For a 24.
24 will hit him.
Okay.
Get that longbow value at this distance.
Oh, yeah.
It's happening. We're doing it.
He's going to take 14 points of magical piercing.
Okay.
And then Hunted Shot for 2 shots.
Pew, pew, pew.
26.
26 will hit.
And 18.
18, that last one will go away.
All right. So still one more hit, so that'll be good.
SS is basically aiming by grid coordinates at this point.
E4!
So that'll be 10 more points of magical piercing.
Alrighty. Buddy.
Well, I'm gonna hitch up my belt a bit, start trudging over. It's only gonna take me all my moves.
10, 20. 10, 20. Make a reflex save.
Yeah, okay, let's go try and
As you
get.
stride into the entangle.
Yeah,
Hey!
pretty good, pretty good. Okay, so it's 26.
20. Okay.
Getting there. I am coming for you.
Pushing your way, just the shield's not even up. You're just. Resume.
Resume, nodding to herself, is going to close her eyes and blink and use Dimension Door and show up on the other side of Dalrin.
Okay.
And Resme will appear right behind you and say, "Don't worry, Master. I've got your back." And she'll cast Shield.
Weren't you just...
That... Don't pay attention to physics and the way they work.
Physics comes in very handy sometimes.
Meanwhile, in Entangle land, Priest is going to get a 23 to move this turn.
Also gonna fail.
So he is...
God, that master class DC.
Oh, don't it
Oof.
suck to be you?
Ooh, expert class DC. Woo.
Can I see the Entangle card?
Yeah, sure.
The cards make things way
What is that? It
nicer.
makes it so much easier to have to Google everything. Okay. Oh, it's not immobilized. Oh, it only is slowed on
No,
a failure.
he's only
Okay.
slowed, yeah.
I thought it was slowed on a success,
The
immobilized
guys,
on a failure.
no, the guys who critically failed
They're
are the
totally
ones
stuck.
who are immobilized. He's just slow.
So slowed, he's going to fly into a shrieking rage here as Buford approaches him, and also trudge. Trudge.
Just slow motion. Got a slow motion over here.
You're slowly just trudging aggressively at each other.
As
It's
thick
gonna... Huh?
With as small as Truk are and as thick as these plants are, is he kind of like doing like when you see those dogs in those videos just jump a little bit like this?
Just bouncing. He's gonna see Dalrin running around this tree, move a little bit further, and they're gonna see that Fresme has appeared there too as he comes around, and then move a little bit further, and that's as far as he gets to go. And just still shrieking and hopping madly, just swinging his staff and his longsword both, trying to just chop and beat some of his plants out of his way as he goes. He gets to the end here, and then finally opens his mouth, takes a deep breath, and lets loose a huge gout of fire across the Entangle and the pair of you.
Okay,
Is it a 30-foot cone?
There's a 30-foot cone coming off of the
think
corner
this
of his
is
square,
me.
though. Corner of his square.
Yeah, so
5,
10,
15, 20.
25.
I think it's exactly 30
It
there.
is exactly 30.
So I need a reflex save from the three of you.
Many reflex saves were used this
You
day.
do a lot of fire stuff.
Did we get cover from the tree?
He came around. He didn't even know you were there. He
okay.
came around to get Dalrin out, and then saw you, and then went a little further to get you out too.
It's not bad.
He's like, sure, I'm gonna breathe on everybody.
Everybody
We'll
gets
take it.
breathed on.
And can I raise my shield? Or no? Is that something I can raise my shield?
No, it's not. You're not being attacked. You're just
Okay,
in an
okay.
area of effect.
Okay.
So, all right.
Oh,
17.
to 23.
23.
Okay, so Buford's gonna fail. You're gonna take 24 fire damage, and each of you are gonna take 12 fire damage from this gout of flaming breath as he's just wordlessly shrieking like a Daruka at this point,
That's mildly
Like they do.
uncomfortable.
like they do,
It's distinctive in and of itself.
as they are wont to do. Rare.
Well,
That's what combinations thing.
I am going to do my first level 4 3-action burst heal and just kind of get rid of everything you just did.
Stop.
Let me ruin your life forever.
Yeah, that's just, here you go, everybody. Have a nice blessing of Sarenrae. 13 to everyone.
Thank you.
Cool.
And I am excluding him.
Ooh, you got the hot selective now.
I had that, I just never had to use it.
Oh, it was the first time I actually had somebody in range.
Yep.
And with this wave of healing washing over everyone, Dalrin,
So I forgot my persistent damage last turn, and I don't know how much it is actually. So
you take 3,
okay,
and you're still bleeding.
and I'm still bleeding.
Yeah, you have the card. I totally forgot about that.
Okay, and so he's just ignoring it. It's
Doesn't seem to be too severe.
So, yeah. Resme, if you could get rid of these vines, they seem to be hindering more. But nothing for it. And I'm just gonna have to. Actually, I'm gonna move around it. Actually. So let's see. 5'10", 5'10", right? That's
5'10".
15, 20, 25,
That's 25-30. That's a difficult terrain square.
25, 30. Okay, cool. And then that's going to be 35, 40, 45, 50. And that's within 10 feet of him, so that's good. That's 2 moves.
Stabbing range.
And shink. Hey, Nice. So that's 30.
30 will hit.
It's 29 lightning damage.
I was about to say, if your damage
We
is
hate
higher
you
than
so
your attack
much.
roll, I'd be quite impressed.
A giant slap. A massive blow from this geese arm as you're still raging. And, you have an
Persistent
action
damage?
left?
No, it was 2 moves to
Okay.
get there.
And then, yeah, go ahead and roll to see that persistent damage ends as you bleed from there 2 points of damage.
Okay, I'm still bleeding.
Esvis.
You know it, you love it. First, Hunter's Aim. For that lovely
Pew.
+2.
Pew pew. He's definitely moved pretty solidly into cover here. I'd say as far behind a tree as the pair of you are, he's got greater cover from you at this angle. Because you've got like a tree in the square
Yeah.
below you, and he's got a tree in the square
It's
above you.
pretty.
Okay,
I'll let you shoot him, but it's going to be greater cover for sure.
okay. Do I need to roll concealment before?
No.
Okay. Bless you.
Thank you.
So,
Hey, he's supposed to say that.
right. 26 for the first shot.
26 is going to stick into the trees on your mind.
Okay. And 2 more shots. I'll do Hunted Shot for 2 more shots.
Big numbers.
Big numbers. Big numbers. So that's going to be a 30.
30 will hit.
And that's a miss. So just one arrow manages to slip through the cover to strike him square in the side.
Just letting loose the volley from the background here.
11 points of magical piercing.
And with that, buddy,
Okay, well, I am going to bring my hammer around and try and give him a good smack. Knock some sense into this man. A natural 20.
That
So
is
it also,
Sense has been knocked.
so I bring it up and it hits him in the chin and just like flat out knocks him down.
He's just
over.
wordlessly shrieking and raging at this point. You just bop him with a hammer and he just knocks him over immediately.
So that is 24 damage.
And he is not going to get back up from that.
Well, he's a bit softer than I thought he was. Actually.
You give him a solid hit there, and yeah, almost lifting his tiny body up off the ground as he drops down. He doesn't seem to be moving anymore.
I'll dismiss the entangle.
I believe,
That was very, very well done.
do believe you laid him out, buddy.
Very nice.
I was not expecting that.
His jaw is
Yeah,
like not even on all the way
Like
anymore.
it's unhinged. I've never seen that before.
You sure he's not part snake instead of dragon?
You know, this was not the way I thought this was gonna go. But
He looks a little Ioma dazed.
Maybe we should give him get you like a padded mallet for the next time you're
maybe maybe I should be. You know, I haven't
Rubber
used
mallet.
my whip in quite a while.
We could wrap the head in rawhide, and that way it would.
He
Yeah.
one of those like actual carnival whack-a-mole mallets
Yeah.
that just has
Yeah. Well, and
the
it's
cloth on the
and
end
it
so
would
doesn't
be
hurt the
like
machine.
kind of with all of the damage that Buddy has taken, he actually looks remarkably fine. There's a lot of bulk to get through to like do any like lethal damage to him.
I'm
just-
I'm limping a bit.
Well, I'm gonna sit everybody down while we're making camp and take care of it.
If I vote an action, does a 10 stop my persistent?
It's a flat 11.
Flat 11,
So-
so nope, still taking damage.
Beat a little more for 2 more damage.
Well,
and
I
we can just
I
say
can
it
just
He's just gonna heal you.
ends
Yeah.
there. And
Okay,
then, yeah,
there you
and
go.
then you can be patched up after that. So it's not bleeding profusely enough to really be relevant anymore after the fight has concluded. But
you can do a 2-action medicine check against the DC of the monster that inflicted the bleed to stop the bleed. So
yes, that's what well, you can just do for
there's a 2-action to assist to let him automatically roll, but medicine specifically has a 2-action against the DC of the infliction.
but that still only gives them a check. So as written, that's an action that's completely pointless because you can. And I think it's a little bit of an oversight because there's a sidebar that says you can take a 2-action activity to do something that would reasonably help you stop the persistent damage, and just you use 2 actions and you get a flat check to see if it ends. And then under medicine, you can make a 2-action medicine check against the class DC of the enemy or the DC of the effect, to give them a flat check to see if the condition ends. So there's no reason to do that when you can just... I mean, that can be the thing that you do for 2 actions to do it with no check, and you just get it. It's just...
You lost me.
I guess
It's
guaranteed.
just strictly better.
That's Squid's whole point. He didn't get it either.
Yeah, I feel like
I don't
it's...
understand what that is.
I feel like either the sidebar was supposed to... was at one point included a DC that you had to roll against to assist them.
I think what it is that if you want to spend your action, so you yourself can. It sounds like you yourself can take an action, take 2 actions to try to stop it. But if someone else tries to do it for you, they need to do
Maybe that would
medicine.
make sense. Maybe you can't
Because
spend 2
we
actions
did
to help
that-
somebody else.
we did
that a
except
lot in
specifically with
Plaguestone.
medicine. That could make that would actually make sense.
Because
to me.
we were burning and on fire a lot and
bleeding a
and
lot.
bleeding, so
Yeah.
we were taking our turns to try to save other people.
That would make sense. Fair enough. Okay, so so you wouldn't be able to realistically assist somebody else, except with bleeding and a medicine check specifically. Either way, you would be able to stop it fairly easily and sit down. And I mean, Esvis, wholly unharmed, can continue. The camp's got to get set up. You got to get that mosquito shelter together, while the rest of you would take some tending to from Rur here, of course, because everyone got a little bit of fire. Everyone got at least
Little
a
bit.
little spicy.
A little spicy.
And, I mean, the rolling's largely irrelevant at this point. So, as you finish up your preparations for the afternoon here, Renali and Valia once again returning, having found nothing. But seeing clearly, again, we're tending to everybody. And she just looks across the group. How do you keep doing this?
It wasn't a totem this time.
Dalrin lost his temper a bit.
We are 8 miles on a bad day from the Leopard Clan's city, and somehow you still get into trouble.
Yeah, I was
It's what
real
we do.
surprised, actually. I didn't even have my hand. I wasn't even ready. Didn't have my shield up, nothing. Apparently, the forest around here is a lot more dangerous, even close to home.
And since your camp will be right here, assuming you would probably have at least moved the Chiruga, well, I guess there only are a pair of corpses. The rest of them just ran for their lives.
That's true. Oh, but do they have do they have
They
Cinderclaw
absolutely would all
amulets?
have
That's
emblems.
2 more
on them
emblems.
as well. Yes, they would still have those emblems, and the Dragon Priest would again have a solid gold one, just like the
Don't touch
last
it.
half Dragon Priest had.
And Severin would probably be lunching on one of them.
We've learned by now, do not touch any of the Chiruka.
So does the Trident guy have a gold painted one and not a solid gold one?
Trident guy actually has a normal one.
A normal one.
whereas the unlike the last one,
Okay.
but the half Dragon Priest does have another solid gold emblem.
Add that to the
Normal ones are
collection.
just wood, right?
Normal ones are
I think
just
they're
like
iron.
Yeah,
Iron.
they're just a metal, just a mundane basic metal. So as you're kind of explaining in reality what happens, I thought I was the unlucky one, constantly being sent off to find more of these totems, but day after day, with near eye shot of Akrivel, you keep managing to find things to fight.
Look, if you're gonna have a talent, at least do it right.
It's honestly not even surprising at this point that the portal of all places on this entire planet led exactly to the group of you.
Yeah, that's yeah. Fair point, fair point.
And you would, a little from the distance, hear another voice that you recognize reply to that. It is impressive, to be sure. I've never seen a group who attracts so much danger unto themselves every single day. They have a talent, Renali. And you'd see Renavo actually hop down from a tree, do the little Ekajai wave.
Are we
My-
glad to see you?
A smile on
Yeah.
his face come by. And I am glad to see nothing has befallen the group of you. The hunters, they came back speaking of a great fire and, well, I suppose I should not be surprised. Somehow the group of you are the ones who have managed to put it down.
Yeah, man, it sure is good to see you. How's the band? How's the family?
We have many stories to tell. You'll be interested to learn of the surroundings.
We have heard many. We actually, you, I am sure, are responsible for this. We have been able to reclaim much of the jungle that was lost to us.
We were hoping as much.
Quite a
Oh,
number of
good.
totems we found.
I came personally at this report as even days ago, this far to the east, the blindness struck us. But even now, I am here and I am Kaledi. But I see
The blindness should be gone. It was being caused by a magical totem that was creating the effect.
Just to the east here.
The totem is now gone, and thus your vision should no longer be impeded.
Well, to clarify, your blindness was happening down by the river as well, correct?
It happened anywhere we went, south or east of Akrivel. We could not see. Our eyes were clouded with fire and ash, and saw nothing of the jungle in front of us. But much of this has now faded. The river we can walk, well, some distance. It has... What is word? It has reduced. It
Yes.
has fallen back.
Yes, yes, yes.
Receded.
Like the recede. It has receded like the Cinderclaws themselves when they tried to take Hunter's Gate.
Exactly so.
You know, I have a theory about that. If they can key the totems not to affect the Chiruka and the other creatures, couldn't they affect it to increasingly affect the Ekajai in very specific ways?
That's possible, but I don't know why you wouldn't just have it maximally affect everything that's not on your side.
This
Because-
is talk of magic far beyond what I understand. But my daughter, I'm sure, will be glad to hear it.
Oh, it'd be good to see her.
It is good to see the group of you alive. I had faith. I did. You are strong, all of you. And with the progress the hunters were able to make, I believed it would return. But it has been weeks.
Oh, the
Yes.
jungle is large.
Slow moving too. Gosh, you know how the roots and everything make it real difficult for walking.
It is just... I am happy to see all of you again.
I am happy to see you too. You know, you're one of my favorite people. I mean, besides, but still, one of my favorite people. It's real good to see you, and I'm really interested to see how everything's progressing around here now that everybody has more freedom.
Well, the sun does not have much longer for us this day. Can I stay with your camp?
Of course.
course,
You're
We can share
welcome.
stories of what has happened in the last few weeks and head back to Akrivel tomorrow as friends. We will have no feastings prepared, but certainly I, Gelenor, Nikita will all be happy to hear your stories, as well the leopards.
Of course.
By any chance, did Lord Stoutmore make it back to anything really? We haven't heard from him in a few days.
And he stops for a second. The name, that sounds so
Old guy.
familiar.
Talks a lot.
To
Yellow
me-
hat.
The Yellow Hat Man! Yes! He is there. That is a story that is not mine to tell. That is for my daughter Gelenor to catch up on, but he...
You didn't kill him, did you?
His face kind of darkens a bit. What is that? No. We did no such thing, but we found some things of his. I do not know if he understood what he brought with him, but
He did not.
He doesn't understand anything.
he...
And worse yet, he thinks he does.
And
I could not understand a word that man spoke, and I thought I had good Toldane.
it's
but-
not Taldane. It's just that you don't speak crazy.
He is certainly something. I try not to look down on others. We have our differences. We all do. But that man, he make my head hurts when he talk.
Well,
I don't blame you. We can hopefully dissuade him from whatever crazy antics he's up to at this point.
And,
well, come, we should make camp before Valia feels
Yeah, Valia
compelled
in the
to
back
slap
just
someone again.
Has her arms crossed and just seems to be seething. And as you say that, she briefly shakes her head. No, understand our cultural differences. Not his fault.
Yes, class differences. We have some and he doesn't.
Now, Valia, we're not trying to insult the man. We're just... What he's doing around here doesn't match the local culture. It's
No,
insensitive.
I understand. And this champion of the Akajai people here, he doesn't have the benefits of the same education as a lot of us may have. So, each his own, different cultures and whatnot, but
I appreciate you being a little understanding for him.
I understood what I was getting into coming down here, and we all have different standards. You know, I appreciate abiding by such standards. Again, it'd be unfair to hold it against him.
Can we start up a big fire? We have some things we need to get rid of.
And Renavo kind of puts his hand out. No. Here, so close to Akrivel. Many of these trees were grown by our people. These plants, this is too close. You cannot make fire here.
It's just like a little fire, like a cooking fire.
We would not have the ability to secure an area well enough. Embers rise as heat does. Fires can start on high.
I can make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, if it will make you feel better,
I mean, if
Renavo, we'll happily enjoy your company. The jungle night hasn't been too cold as of late, assuming it doesn't rain on us.
Yes, but there are some things I have to get rid of, and fire would be very helpful.
If you believe you can do it safely, I have the faith in you. It just worries me is all.
Esvis, will you help me, please?
Of course.
Many of our reports have spoken of the Cinderclaws spreading their influence further. Even while our sight returns to us, and the claws of the leopard clan are able to extend further into the jungle once more. There have been so many tales of fire, hellflame, and dragon's breath throughout what used to be Ekojai lands. And he kind of looks down away from Igby for a moment. But the group of you returning here is an omen, a good one, certainly. That soon this will meet its end.
The foe is tenacious, but fear not. We all together have what we need to set them back.
I'm afraid the Elephant Clan's village has been almost completely destroyed.
Yes, the people have scattered to the south.
Most of them unharmed.
One of their envoys did come to Akrivel a week or so past. He must have left before you arrived. He had no word of travelers outside of the Cinderclaws, but we had heard of the fate of their village. That is a word, if you will, that I would advise you bring to my daughter. She worried. She did not know when she sent you there that they had met their end.
It's all right. I think we
Not
were able
their
to
end.
help.
Just timber and thatch is all. The people are fine. They can rebuild.
We sent you out to explore, not to drive you into waiting claws of the dragon.
Nonsense. We knew what we were getting into. This is a war zone, my friend, and we are at war.
And certainly you have done well enough. You will look in, well, no, the assortment of bandages and various poultices. You look like you have been through some good amount of a war yourselves.
Oh.
Tell me tales then with what is left of the light. And you, what was your survival? Was it 31?
Yes.
You would have an evening here to catch Renavo up on what exactly had taken place. And I mean, how much are you? Do you have anything that you're trying to hide from him, or are you just?
I don't think so.
No, although I
have the totem.
Oh no, I'm surreptitiously burning them.
Putting your little totem sticks in the fire here, sneaking them in underneath some of the bigger logs.
They don't expand.
Correct.
Yeah.
Making sure they don't just boom into it.
While on fire. Oh no!
You said it would be.
The darkness!
This is what fire brings.
You would explain to him of the many totems that you found, the completed ones, what they were capable of, the various, everything you fought against in the past weeks of your travel, and everything that you overcome, as well as the strange shielding that the Cinderclaws down the river seem to have, the bubble, the rainbow defense around their fortress, where you at the moment had no way past, but theoretically seems to be linked to the totems you've been dismantling, as well as their mining operations out the east that you find.
And all the arsenic everywhere that they should not touch.
You also probably warned them about that. And to that one, as you brought up the gold mine and the arsenic-laced things that you'd found, Renavo would nod. And he wouldn't interrupt your story, but he'd put up a hand for a moment, almost like a school child, and wait for a pause. This gold of theirs. And he grabs the big golden necklace that he has around his neck. This is what it is to be a lady. Gold itself, the very essence of the metal, is the same essence that brings the darkness through to this world. The gold is what it has left behind, what it has sown, a manifestation of what is left of its wrath and its fire.
Fascinating.
Could you explain that to me in Mwangi so you could be a little bit more detailed? I'm really not quite sure what you mean.
And he, perhaps a better explanation could wait for Akrivel when my daughter can help me. But the role of Kaledi is one I understand. You, from the north, certainly have seen the corruption that gold sows by its very nature. This that I bear, it is a mark, or like, and he points down to Buford's symbol and over to Rurs. Like what you have, a mark. It is one of purity. That is what it means to be Kaledi in my people. That I can bear this and this corruption and not fall to it.
Interesting.
Yes. Huh.
So you consider a gold to be anathema?
No, not anathema. The fact that he bears it and can remain uncorrupted by it is a testament of purity. It's actually it's an interesting concept that you have something unclean, but those who are able to bear it are only the ones that are pure enough to withstand it. It's an interesting concept, actually.
It is an honor that has been bestowed upon me by the Twin Leopards.
I see. I see.
It is a...
Interesting.
So this gold, though, this did not come from the local mines here. The gold here is tainted. It would slowly poison you over the course of your life.
Gold is laced through all these lands. As I said, when... And Nikita does this story much better than I. But this is a remnant. A physical remnant. A thing left through the dirt and the grounds of all the jungle. Left behind of his corruption.
May I take a look at that?
And may I take a look at you?
Oh
And
boy.
He holds a necklace.
Could potentially be suffering from minor arsenic poisoning.
Yeah.
I am sorry, Dalren, but you can look, but it is not mine to remove.
I understand. Well, in that case, and he'll dip into his alchemist tools and just pull out a little bit of tester powder on his thumb and just kind of wipe it to see if I can get a reaction.
I'm trying to look like unsure of what you're doing, and make me a craft check real quick.
Whew, natural 20, 34.
Oh, baby.
So very quickly, you expose it to a bit of that reagent, and it doesn't seem to react at all. It seems that the gold that he bears on his necklace is completely pure.
It seems clean. Whoever crafted this either leached the arsenic out of it when they pulled it from the ground, or the arsenic poisoning in the gold only reaches so far.
It is an answer simpler than what you seek, but perhaps one you may not believe. The Kaledi is a road passed through not just the Leopard clan, but all the clans of the Ekojai peoples. They each have their Kaledi, their chosen, that for their honor, they are known to be pure. And it is the first Kaledi of the clan a light so bright among the darkness that helped to banish it back, well, way back.
Oh.
That same light can purge even this corrupted metal.
Fascinating. Well then, this is a relic you bear. It must be centuries old and have been passed down through the generations. You are both honored and humbled, you must feel, to carry it.
It is a great honor, and one that I do not understate.
Wipe that reagent off of it.
And
Did you call it raging?
as you do,
Darwin uses reagents.
kind of sitting, legs crossed and folded underneath there.
Him.
No,
Oh.
Valia. Valia is kind of looking curiously, and sort of thinking, if I may be so bold as to inquire, this isn't magic that I have ever heard of, and certainly I have not the storied understanding of some of the greatest wizards of Taldor and Cheliax, and, well, I'd like to believe that I understand some of at least what is possible via magical theory, and what would certainly be magical alchemy you speak of, this is near unheard of. Using magic itself to purify, well, an impure strand of gold. This is what you're speaking of here. The ramifications are.
You're telling me that magic that can do literally anything, she can like appear in one place and appear in the other place and no problem and turn into weird animals and stuff, and
They're
you
not
have
weird.
a problem with like gold getting kind of cleaner?
Well,
I mean, certainly you can
It's
do
more-
such a thing mundanely and with some simple alchemical processes. I'm not
Correct,
sure
but
why
you-
it'd be strange for magic to
it
accomplish the
sounds
same
to
thing.
me from what Sir Renavo was saying here that it wasn't as simple as that. It didn't seem like they had a portion of gold that was, well, tainted or an impure strain or arsenic or whatever it may be have been. It sounds to me, if I'm correct, that you had this relic of yours that was laced through with corruption and turned to pure gold. You converted the impurity to more gold. That's groundbreaking. That's incredible. This is
Oh, you seem to. It sounds to you as though it's actual transmutation of base materials into gold. It wasn't how I interpreted it, but I suppose now that would be something to get
And
excited about.
Renavo's. I am sorry again. I'm not sure I understand the difference that you are searching for.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
From
don't
the
worry
point of
about
view
it.
of the amulet, the difference is minor, and certainly wouldn't be very important. However, one thing that she refers to, and this may be of some cause for concern, you spoke yourself of the damage that gold can cause across the sea, as it is all over the world. This would have ramifications along those lines, hence why it's striking in its remarks. The ability to transmute base materials into gold is something that is long sought after. It's not an interpretation I drew from your story. But if Valia did, perhaps others might as well.
And Renavo's still just kind of looking back and forth, watching you as you talk. I'm looking back to Valia. Hey, this sounds like questions, perhaps, that are better posed to my daughter than to me. I think this may go a little beyond my understanding of legend. I looked only to bear a story and a bit of the history of my people, and I did not mean to raise a great discussion about the history of magic and spells and what all can be done with wizards and your kind. That again, my daughter.
I wouldn't blame yourself for that. We can pretty much turn almost any conversation into one of magic and almost inconceivable.
And
Blather.
with
Blather.
that,
Yes, blather.
you would hear a snap, almost surge of magic, as right outside the camp, a burst of incredibly thick mist would suddenly manifest. Not particularly large, maybe about like 8 feet around or so, and maybe equally high, a big spherical protection. Does everyone, from their comfortable resting positions, quickly reaches out to grab all of their weapons and whatnots? You know, because that's the thing we're doing now.
This is our life now.
The mist parts to reveal not a Chiruka, not a boggard, not anything like that.
But dozens of them.
Cute little 10-foot ball clown card together. But what appears to be a fairly elderly human, a wizard sort, with a graying, kind of frayed hat perched on his head in equally drab and mundane robes. A beard, almost perfectly matching color, winding down. As mist dissipates in just a few seconds to reveal most of his body and the hat perching out. He's faced away from you, and you can see the mist is still kind of coalesced around his head a bit. Aye! He waves his hand a bit. Oh, isn't Howling.
You know,
I can't see anything.
for a place as remote as the Mwangi Expanse, there's certainly a large number of colorful characters that seem to find their way here.
Oh my god, I do believe that's...
The Mongi Expanse, is that where I am? I can't see anything, this mist. Hold on, one moment here. And he reaches down into his belt and pulls out a little thin, kind of gnarled stick. Artifi, and seems to be doing like the beginning of a simple cantrip over and over and over, but never actually.
Gonna get my bedroll, and I'm just gonna wave it in front of his
You wait,
face.
the mist kind of wafts a bit, but still seems to be sticking
I'll
around
cast
his
Dispel Magic.
head. Because you give me a counter check.
Let me help you, old guy. Give me a minute.
Got my hammer and my shield.
Buford's ready for trickery.
Okay.
Hey, 15.
Plus 30.
With a 30, you dispel the mist from around him as he stops there. I wasn't quite ready yet, but he doesn't say anything and turns around and sees. Oh, whoa! Ho there! I mean no harm.
Oh, no, the bedroll doesn't hurt.
It's
Well,
okay.
he's got his like hammer and he's grabbing his bow. And,
Yeah, just
Are you Lord Lamon Breachton?
What?
What?
Why would you assume that?
Because he's a crazy wizard who shows up in the middle of the forest.
Well, he doesn't have the golden eyes. Do you have the
He does
golden eyes?
not know. He
See?
has fairly
Well, there's no harm in asking.
simple brown
Also, he
eyes.
wasn't no crazy
Gray
wizard.
eyebrows so large and bushy, it seems to fill up all the area between his brow and his hat. And there isn't really much of a wrinkled face left between all of this dark gray hair he has, all just completely enshrouding him. No, I'm Man in Piok. Where are we?
Mwangi
Mwangi.
Expanse.
That took me further than I'd imagined. Puts the stick back in his belt. Well, pleasure to make your acquaintances. I apologize if I was intruding. I'd grown somewhat, bored, I suppose, of research in the library, and were you discussing the merits of magic and limitations?
Well,
Did
to
you
be
just
honest-
randomly point to a spot on the map and decide to try to teleport there?
Oh, no. It was much more involved than that, actually. You see.
Use darts.
No, I do believe he asked where the most beautiful woman in the world was, and
And,
it naturally pointed him here.
Renavo puts his hands up. Let the man speak, gods! And Piok kind of looks around the group of you. Well, it was experimental, admittedly, but I didn't think it would go quite this far. So, I had, largely exhausted the library in Featherholm, and there was admittedly what precious little they had, and I hadn't quite come across magic strong enough to, Para is busy, and, everyone hates going to Cheliax, of course, and I wasn't really feeling like dealing with the Varisian hawkers and hagglers and all of
I'm
that.
gonna sit
and,
back down and start eating dejectedly.
and Absalom just seemed like far too much hassle, so I thought to myself, instead of teleporting to a particular destination to continue researching, why don't I divine one? Now, the concept of dividing a concept was you were talking about the potential of magic, yes?
Indeed.
By Nethys, it worked! I told them! Alright, no, sorry.
You're not wrong. It did work.
He's
We-
even weirder than I am.
Well, we were actually having a discussion about that. Perhaps Lady Desna
So
has delivered us an expert.
You've heard nothing of my my studies and my publications, the Piakian School of Magic, the...
Would I have
Have
heard
I?
of that?
Arcana?
You certainly would not. I may have Piakian theory, perhaps.
I'm afraid not, but it's been a while since
Why
I've done
does
my
every
studies.
other wizard with a magical breakthrough get to put their name on the thing, but I try and it just simply never... Regardless, a brief explanation. So, I arrived here via a brief dimensional transportation. A dimension door spell, fairly simple, 4th level incantations. Any
Yeah, we're familiar.
basically accomplished wizard or sorcerer, magi of any kind should be capable.
It took you across the continent?
That it did, because it wasn't a single casting of Dimension Door. No, this was... Hold on one moment. Good to have come in.
Extended casting?
No, it was somewhere around 600 castings of it, I believe.
Well, pardon but perhaps something has changed since last I learned, but my understanding is using Dimension Door to travel that far created a disruption in the magic around you, which prevented you from casting it again right away. Have you been casting this for
watch.
weeks?
You don't. This is the essence of Piokian magic. Imagine this. Even the most basic initiate of simple magic, the most basic cantrips, able to produce mighty works, to erect castles, to teleport across worlds or even planes, with enough patience and dedication.
That sounds very interesting.
Indeed. Now, imagine the simplest spell you can, the most basic, you adventurers, you look adventurers.
I'm gonna
Certainly.
finish eating and then slowly lay down.
All right. A brief demonstration is in order here.
Ooh! Can I volunteer?
Well, I can demonstrate this myself, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. All right. Clypeus. And he casts a shield, like you've seen Resme do 20 bazillion times before. And just quickly pops up the small magical barrier in front of himself. This spell is very simple, but it only lasts mere moments. And after a few seconds, of course, it fades away. She has to... Now, normally, traditional combat magi or Chalden flank soldiers or anything would just simply cast this repeatedly and keep the spell up. But this is tiring. This is exhausting. These chromatics, the components, the concentration required to put something like this together is a lot of effort. And besides, it doesn't make the spell any more effective. It simply repeats it. So, let's hands back up. All right, one moment. Let me...
I'm gonna turn on my magic sight so I can see if I can tell what the heck he's doing.
All right. Oh, you're well trained as well. Okay, hopefully I can demonstrate this for you. Okay, all right. Okay.
You do realize we don't have enough tents and nets to have him here. He's going to get eaten alive.
No, this is so fascinating. He can have my space.
What are you going to do? Slip into
Clypeus.
Dalrins?
And as he finishes the
Ew.
spell, he again casts shield and pops up what appears to be a completely identical shield, which lasts for a couple of seconds and then fades away again. All right, well, that's not really enough. It's a brief demonstration, perhaps, doesn't really give you the details of how well this works. But if you hypothetically took these half spells and cast them repeatedly, one into the other, you could develop them to a much stronger barrier. A wizard, perhaps, even a simplistic, a very basic apprentice of sorts, who had been preparing a spell like this for a simple 5 to 10 days, could release the spell at an opportune moment to project a barrier capable of blocking, well, siege weapons or bombards even, for a brief moment, of course.
So you're chaining together cantrips and lower level spells to end on a much larger burst of singular magic,
Exactly.
but it's short lived.
Well, it's not as short-lived as the original spell was, I suppose. And it's still very, very much experimental. The fine-tuning phase is still operating on this. Whoa.
How do you
It is hot, very hot here.
chain the
Oh, you should see it during the daytime. But
the magical foci together?
See, that's the secret. So many great minds have been studying what can be possible with different kinds of spells or adaptations or applications, but no one has really turned all of that magic and all of that brain power inward to what truly comprises a spell itself at its most basic level.
Well, I've given it a lot of thought, actually. I mean, we know there are different schools of magic.
I have an idea. I know how we can test this. And I just go over into the magic sack and pull out just a dried piece of fruit. Stand next to that tree.
I'm very much up for some experimentation. All right.
And I'm going to put it on top of his hat. Grab the longbow, grab an arrow, march out a few paces.
should he be casting something?
Yes, he should.
About where this is going.
Try your normal shield, and I'm aiming for the fruit on his head.
Oh, aim lower. Aim lower.
No.
Twang.
Hold on. He reaches up, hands around his head a bit, and grabs the fruit, and just shuffles far away from the tree. I came here for hopefully a scholarly discussion on the finer points of what.
And she takes a bite out of the apple. As I was saying, we know there are schools of magical theory, and presumably they were developed over centuries of experimentation and greater understanding of the different domains of magic.
And these most simplistic building blocks exactly are what we should be spending our time examining. My appearance here, for instance, we've been sidetracked, I apologize. A simple dimension door spell can only transport the user at best a few hundred feet.
Or a mile.
If it is cast by a more powerful conjurer, one who has stronger magic to infuse upon it, of course you can travel a mile or even several, but that's about the limits of the spell itself. So, my theory that I had put together with my Paokian theory of magic was to hold the dimension door spell, to never complete the cast itself, pull forth the magic, tie it into some simple divinations.
Yeah, he can sleep with you, and Esphus just scoops up a whole thing of dirt and just goes, "Goodnight," dumps it on the fire to immediately put it out and just goes to his bedroll.
The darkness doesn't seem to stop him. And I simply
Light.
spent around, I would estimate, 12 to 16 hours holding this dimension door spell, building up range.
Huh.
And when I released it, I arrived here.
Question on the safety of this particular method. Do you have a return method?
Well,
In 12 to 15 hours, he might.
admittedly, I hadn't expected it to carry me quite so far, so the simple answer, I suppose, is no.
How many times did you partially cast it?
600,
did you count?
correct?
Well, but this was only a single casting.
Right, but how
the
many?
divinations were the ones I had to pile upon themselves.
How
to
many?
broaden the, I believe it was in the 600s, yes.
And where did you come from specifically?
Featherham. It's a small town up in southern Gaul.
Dolrin, give me your map.
Yes, indeed.
Resume's gonna start plotting out in miles how far away this point is from where he came from, to try to figure out how many miles a single half preparation
Right.
would
Galt is
take
up
him.
north of Taldor on the
Right.
top right, go
Down.
down.
There.
Galt. Southern Galt, and you're in the Flaming Expanse.
All right, and she's gonna try to figure out what one semi casting of this, how much that takes.
Now, admittedly, this magic here is fairly experimental. Hold on one moment. It's
Give me a minute.
very dark. So
She's doing division, like long division on a
He's
piece of
quickly,
paper.
Chorus Lumina, and he summons up just a floating mote of light that illuminates the campsite, just like the campfire had done before. Now, the specifics of this are unpredictable at best, I would say, but it's something I've been working to narrow down. As a matter of fact, I had a great breakthrough only about 3 months ago. Now, here's where this gets interesting.
Yeah.
Guess. I suppose I'll pose the question very straightforwardly.
Tree sap.
Guess how old I am. And this man looks like he's easily in his 80s or 90s. He looks ancient.
Can I,
To be that
can I
stupid,
medicine
I'm
check your
gonna go
guess?
with 17 to 25.
Not even. Well, that's far off of.
Can I medicine check to try and figure out his age?
You can make medicine check to try and figure that out.
26.
26, he looks like he's probably in his 90s. He's
I'll say 93.
almost decrepit. I am actually a mere 58 years of age. You see, I presented my theory to a wizard
Wow.
in Taldor who assisted me, a chronomancer, with a bit of his magic, and after some time developing, I managed to freeze a time stutter spell on myself for 48 years.
Resume
did
is
you-
looking at him at this point like, where are you from?
What did you do in a time stutter for 48 years?
Well, nothing. It was an instant as far as I was concerned, and it was not exactly the intended effect. The thought was, well, largely for the opposite to have occurred, to give wizards an area where they could study and prepare their things without being affected by the passage of time. But unfortunately, it seemed to have hit me with about 45 years of advancement instantaneously.
Huh.
And now I hurt everywhere.
In case you were wondering, this is what you sound like to outsiders when you talk about dragons sometimes.
But what
Well,
matters
it's very fascinating,
is
actually.
the potential of the thing, because it certainly did something. Now, if only, hopefully, we can come up with a way to reverse it. But
Well,
if you can
sure
figure
we
out a way to reverse
could.
aging, I'm sure you'll revolutionize not just the field of magic. However, this is actually fairly interesting. Your time stutter attempt could have been used to not just study, but also to perpetually half-cast spells to actually greatly shorten the preparation
now you're
time.
seeing the potential.
No, it
there.
actually makes sense. I
It
see where you're
does
coming
make
from.
sense. I just
Aoki magic, I promise upon my what may be unfortunately soon grave, is certainly the future of magical studies. Imagine what can be done again by a simple apprentice given infinite time and none of the constraints and pressures of even simple bodily functions.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say infinite time. Certainly the lifespan, I think, is going to be... the lifespan of the caster is going to be, unfortunately, an immutable barrier. However,
Not
if
for an elf.
you can shorten that time... Oh, no. It's been well documented that actually casters do age while in time stutter. So being in time stutter for 40 years, you would have come out looking that way regardless. But the spell you could have cast,
But
given the concentration, of
not
course.
if this can be adapted properly. I have heard some study of ancient groups of druids who have managed to seemingly overcome the aging process itself.
Oh, that's true. We do have elders who are well over several hundred years old, but
Anyway, we've become very well, and at this point, Renavo, like, obviously, Buddy and us were just leaving the corner. Renavo is just watching. A big, giant smile on his face, like, clearly not understanding anything that's being said, but totally interested. And,
Has the wizard's face started swelling up from mosquito bites yet?
not really. He's only been here a few minutes, I suppose.
That's enough.
But, he seems to have enough hair to largely protect himself. He's got nowhere to get to him. He's pretty
you're
shielded.
not wrong. And Dalrin rages.
Well,
I don't suppose you know any magic to preserve yourself or build a shelter for yourself out here. We didn't exactly expect an additional person in our camp, and the nights can be fairly
I had
inhospitable.
certainly not expected this to take me to the center of the logging expanse. I sort of figured that this would land me in a library or a wizard sanctum somewhere, perhaps even in a private demi-plane. But
It has unfortunately brought you to somewhat of a war zone.
this is around probably the least expected of places they could have arrived. Interesting. Again, the magic is a fair bit unpredictable, admittedly. It's very experimental at the moment. I've only been working on this for around 45 years.
Yes,
Right.
but 44 of them were spent in a time stutter. I can't imagine it was a terribly
Well,
predictive.
this was before. This was
productive
my
year.
college thesis.
Oh,
Before
excellent.
the stop.
Ah.
I've built my life on Payokian magic.
Makes sense.
Now, do you think Peokian or Peokian sounds better? Because Peok is technically my surname, but with the way it conjugates, almost Peokian seems to have a better ring to it.
I like that one actually. I think Peokian.
What's
has a
your
very nice
first
ring.
name?
Manon Peok. I guess I'll
Manonian.
just keep going with Peok if we're
I don't
going.
know,
The point is
Manon-
I wanted to.
No.
The Manonian school has a nice ring to
No,
it.
Peokian is far superior.
No, it sounds too much like you're saying Peacockian or Parochian.
If any of you
Peruvian.
attract any more of these predators with your nonsense, I'm going to just let them take you.
So, I suppose then, as it seems to be very late in wherever we are, and I need to be figuring out a way to return home, can I interest any of you in some magical goods? My research has been
Suddenly,
cripplingly expensive, I will admit.
Well, we have some funds, I suppose.
As both our heads pop out simultaneously like
out of the
turtles.
bedrolls, like loot.
Did you say items?
Well, I will admit I have just now met the group of you, so I'm unclear on what particularly could be most of value to you, but I'm kind of reaches down into his bag and shuffles around a bit, and clearly a pretty large bag of holding. Have you adventuring, swords? Are you on some kind of a quest? Is there a quest here?
Yes.
Are you with the Legends Guild?
No.
No, afraid not.
Myths Guild?
We're
Champions Guild?
free agents.
No. Do we have a company?
Well, it's our company, though.
That's true. But we don't do anything for free.
As he reaches down, he pulls out. All right, well,
Free
you,
as an association.
madam, seem to have some kind of understanding of magic. Are you a wizard or sorcerer of some kind yourself?
I am a bloodline sorceress.
Your knights here seem to fare well enough armor, but if you are much like
She
many...
smiles like she's pretty darn pleased with the fact that you guys are always being considered her retinue.
Nearly all mages before you, somatic components are difficult to create given the constraints of armor, but these, and he pulls out a couple of, a pair of small, very light leather vambraces. These, however, are nearly as good and not at all prohibitive. Yeah, try these on.
I'll take a look at them. Identify with my 1 minute thing.
What's your modifier?
Arcana, right?
Yeah, oh, whatever's your highest. Yeah.
Plus 13.
Plus 13. You wouldn't actually be able to tell exactly what they are. You can tell that they've got a blue abjuration aura on them, but they're pretty powerful actually.
I'll wait and
As he sees you trying to identify it, he just kind of waits unless you do it. Just kind of waiting patiently.
well, he thinks it's going to take me 10 minutes, so after a minute I'll try again.
So as you're trying to identify
Peokian patience at its
everything
finest.
seems to have kind of quieted here. Renavo. You Manon, you certainly seem very invested in your magical studies. It's just laughing. It is amusing to listen to, even if I do not myself understand much of what you say. It is far above me, friend. But I do suppose as much as I would love to let you stay, you've come to Ekujai lands, and in a time of much turmoil. It is lucky you appeared before me and not some of the other hunters. These are hard times for us to abide. Well, strange folk such as yourself. And he just kind of looks over and waves a hand. Oh, no bother. I'll be gone and... Well, I've actually got an idea for that one, believe it or not. It'll
Oh, I
probably
believe
even
it.
work. I certainly won't be here, that much is for certain.
I actually do have some
So you actually
interest.
can't try again after you failed without 24 hours passing.
Okay. Do you want to take a shot?
Yeah, I mean, I can.
Well, we could also just ask him.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
not
more
as fun.
fun.
Fair enough then. Well, while they're doing that, I actually am interested in. I'm a bit of an artisan myself, and I'm looking actually at if you have any plans for some magical runes I could try my crafting hand on. I wouldn't mind picking up some of those.
Runes.
Just the plans for it, or if you actually have the actual things.
No, I've never been much of a scribe myself, nor a weaponsmith really, so my runes would never have any particular interest in me.
Oh, just thought I'd ask.
These I simply produced as that they are well in fairly high demand, given the recent strife in Taldor, not far from where I live. It's been easy to find clients. But, let me see. And he reads through weapons and things. I do have some amount of, well, similarly useful equipment of that sort here. And he pulls out what looks like a woven frisbee, about 6 inches across, like a placemat, made of dark twigs wound around each other. There you go.
What is this?
The twining staff, obviously.
A twining staff.
You unfamiliar?
Afraid I am, actually. I
Well,
could
I
take a look
see.
at it, but if you wouldn't mind telling me.
I'd see a polearm there behind you, and it's not. Oh, it doesn't bear a blade itself, but it's a weapon of similar caliber. All right, well.
Well, then.
Visual. No, don't pull on it. It's magic. What? You don't have to manhandle the thing. Look, envision yourself wielding your polearm.
Okay, very good.
And as you do, the thing almost immediately unravels, the twigs winding together to form a staff about 5.5 feet long with a gnarled knob on either end.
Huh. Fascinating.
And that you should find you able to wield as well as any other. As I said, no blade, but it's very well enhanced by the magic that carves the thing.
The leverage actually makes it quite heavy to swing. This is impressive.
And then you can imagine it back into, instead of the disc form, and it contracts back again. And there are more usages, of course, of the transformation itself. For instance, you can transmogrify the thing as you move or run and get a boost of momentum, like pole vaulting. Do they have sports here?
Yes.
It's mostly a dancing game, but I can definitely think of some uses for this.
Or to force a stubborn door or window, perhaps. A pickle jar, though it may be hard to get it on the leverage properly.
Oh, I could open a pickle jar with this.
Or as a training tool.
I'll say as a curiosity item.
Anyway,
and
what's
quite useful.
woven, the magic woven into that is fair equivalent to some basic runes. I believe lesser potency and striking each. So it'll be a much stronger weapon than it appears at first glance.
It certainly seems very interesting, I suppose. Now, unfortunately, well, typical currency isn't so much of a thing in these parts, but we could offer you trade if you're interested in that sort of thing.
We have gold.
We have some gold. I'm not sure how much you'll need for this.
I'm afraid trading doesn't really seem like it's going to get me much further towards more like gold funding and research. I suppose I'm open to suggestions, but I was really hoping for coin.
have
How
some.
much?
Well, that twining staff, I believe, is a value of around 25 platinum pieces. It's fairly simplistic magic craft. Let me see. You knight in the corner. Is he sleeping?
I'm awake now, but I mean, I got a pretty good nap in.
Oh, what is a knight, and how can you even hope to defend your lady without an equally worthy shield?
Indeed.
Are you talking bad about my shield,
And he,
sir?
he, with some force and wiggling, manages to get a shield out of the mouth of this bag of holding, which looks to be a kite with a gold-painted frame and crest, and a dark blue in the individual panels
Look
with a
at
roaring lion
this
centered
dingy
in it.
little thing. You couldn't even put my shoulder behind this thing, and I go
let
full
me see your current shield.
I'd
if
hand
you
over.
will.
It's like a beaten piece of like it is banged,
And he takes it,
but
kinda
it's
confused.
sturdy.
Invanit Magicae. This is garbage. And hands it back to you.
I tell you, now.
The most
Excuse
baseline
me.
apprentices would be able to craft something like that. No, this is simply more potent. It's similar magic, but enhanced by, well, an
Looking
actual
stupid.
wizard.
Is that what it's enhanced by? Because it looks stupid.
Well, what you have has some very simple abjuration wards passed across it. Again, very, very mundane, with the work of a clear novice. This is simply stronger.
I'll be the judge of that. And I can like bend my shield. Like
Well, even simply try the feel of the thing. You should be able to tell fairly evidently how much power resides within this one.
well, I can tell you a lot of power resides in the one that I have right now. I bet you right now if we hit both of them at the same time, I bet mine would have more health.
Well, had I coins to bet, I would take the free money, but...
Well, I see here, and I'm gonna pick up his shield and like poke and prod and try and bend it a bit.
And though it does seem to be relatively thin, and it's metal, it's still sturdy. It's a shield. It's not like foil or anything, but it's a fairly thin, almost like decorative shield. It seems pretty much completely impossible for you to do anything to, even like scratch the paint on.
I'm gonna like really get into it over here.
See you shaking.
Well, that certainly seems like an interesting thing.
You know, I was kind of doubting you because you're a little bit on the. Well, yeah, I was kind of doubting you. Now I'm kind of that. You know, this is.
I believe that your shield and that shield are a similar strain of magic, but while yours is minor, that one is lesser. Still, well, the best I could afford, really, but a good deal more sturdy.
But I feel like, I mean, this is gold rimmed. I mean, this thing's probably half a country worth of gold.
Now, you, cleric, this isn't too far from Rahadumi lands, is it?
Yeah, I don't have a half
Not that
country
I'm
worth of gold.
aware
You
of.
a Serenite, a priest?
Yes.
Well, my halfling friend has something particularly useful. These are a bit rare, actually. I'm not able to make these, but coming across them,
I've got a
do I want to get
pocket
rid of them,
change in
though?
my purse.
It's something that you can use.
Well, I do really
Yeah, it's
need
like
the
what I'm
money.
Yeah.
All right, fine. And he pulls out a pair of gloves that are fairly supple but simple leather gloves.
Do they look similar to the gloves that I'm currently
I
wearing?
do not know. In that they are level gloves, leather gloves, but kind of. Yeah, this.
What kind of loot
Have you ever been to Rahadum, or should you end up stumbling that way? That symbol can get you into a lot of trouble, really. The Godless Legion don't take kindly to such outward displays of divinity, but I'm sure you wouldn't want to leave it far behind.
Correct.
They check bags of holding, they're very thorough. What they don't check are gloves. Place the symbol or a rock or really anything in there. Give it a try.
See,
I'll
he's
just
interested.
take my symbol and put it in the gloves.
As you put the symbol into the glove, the symbol disappears, and upon the back of the glove appears a stitched icon of the holy symbol of Serenray.
Oh.
I suppose that wouldn't really help. I did kind of forget about that part. I'd still probably take those from you. Regardless, if you can see the value in them, those are quite rare.
The other glove just has a face.
Did you figure out what the bracers were?
Did I figure out what the bracers were with the plus 15?
No.
Unfortunately not. Would you try to tell me more about these?
As he takes the bracers back to you, these are fairly simple. The basic magics contained in a shielding or a personal protective spell, but enhanced by these vambraces and made near permanent. So no effort of your own is meant to upkeep it. It's simply like wearing armor, but not.
I ain't got no money, man.
We don't have too much in the way of cash, so we'll have to see. We'll have to be very. And since you're not interested in taking trade, I'm afraid this is not going to be terribly profitable for as far as coin of yours is concerned. We can go ahead and pool our resources
How
here.
do you feel
but-
about cold iron?
Yeah, so we found some cold iron. We certainly have some
You just say
captured
you have the
weaponry.
teeth.
For the bracers, how much?
I believe these bracers, this enchantment, the permanency of it is a fairly difficult feat. I believe they're around 450 gold pieces on a typical market.
Far outside our budget, I'm afraid. The shield, perhaps?
I don't need the shield. Are you kidding me? I don't need this.
The shield is a good bit easier. For 36 platinum pieces, I could give that to you.
36 platinum. Gosh, that's like I could buy all of our hometown with that. I'm gonna give him back the shield.
Unfortunately, sir, I'm afraid you've quite outpriced us. If it's cash is what you need.
Yeah, we do well enough ourselves. Like, really, I mean, what we've come up with ourselves is really doing quite well.
Oh, truly unfortunate. Starting to become unbearably itchy. How do you people survive here?
I'm just gonna point at the net that is around us that he's not inside of.
You should really come in.
It's very visible. Impressive. It's very fine. That gives me later, perhaps. All right. Well, there's the matter of returning home. Okay. Well, I have a thought. Now, I'm not 100% positive this will work. But what is magic without ingenuity and, well, a fair bit of risk? Contingencies, my friends.
Well, good luck.
Oh, good luck.
Well, I'll need one of you to activate it for me.
Sure.
Do you have a dagger, knife? No, to keep that.
Oh, yes. Of course I have a
go ahead and
dagger.
Stab me with it. Now, I've cast a spell, a protective delayed ward on myself, that if I'm placed in danger or injured, should transport me.
Just automatically just draw it out.
Did you shoot him?
I just shoot him.
Just fall, boom, and the arrow just hits him right in the chest. And he's like, oh, by the gods, then shoot him, and he disappears.
Well, he was talking about delayed magic.
Resume's gonna sit here like this probably for a good 5 minutes.
I have a question.
Answer?
Did he leave the bag behind?
No, I would have gone with him. As no. He had that. He had
Try to
that on
murder
him,
vendors
so
in
that all-
Skyrim, don't you?
As he disappears,
Did we eat something amok?
Renavo, what that? That I suppose he was right, but that was a fast reaction, Esbus.
Like, seriously, did we eat something amok?
No, I believe that happened.
I guess I better go back to sleep. You guys wake me when my watch comes up, eh?
Don't worry, this has all been a fever dream. You're
Yeah,
fine.
I didn't miss much today.
Renali just kind of sitting in the back. How do you attract the weirdest people on the face of the planet constantly?
It's a talent.
It's a gift.
It must be.
I am blessed by more than Saren right now. I have
And
incredible
Valia, who's
luck.
just been like madly scribbling in a journal this entire time. It's like, no, that was truly interesting. I mean, it sounded like the ravings of a madman, but obviously it works to some extent.
Oh, we never got to ask him about the theory about transmuting lesser materials into gold.
Oh, and you sent him back before we even had an opportunity to ask Esvis.
Oh darn, such a terrible loss.
Yeah, that's real so bad, Esvis.
Well, it's
You know, that reminds me.
getting late, I suppose I should. Oh,
You should teach me Draconic.
Manon Piak, you said. I'll have to look him up.
We can do that. Absolutely. It's good to find someone interested.
I'll have to remember that name, Manon Piak.
Well, if I'm going to channel the power of the dragons, I should probably be able to talk to myself.
Oh, yes. No, good point. And it's important to... It puts you in a proper mindset, too, learning Draconic.
I think we should sleep.
But there's things to learn.
It is late and my head hurts.
Oh, here's some willow bark tea.
I just want...
I have some willow bark tea.
I want all of this to go back to normal, honestly. As much as it is sometimes amusing hanging out with the group of you on your adventures, this madness is constant and weary.
Do you want to punch me?
Renali, I will remind you that currently the normal at this point is stumbling across totems that blast us with eldritch power.
I want that to be over too.
Well, we're of a like mind.
We could become inebriated and sing songs. I hear that's normal.
Wait till we get back to
I
Akrivel.
could become unconscious and sing no songs. I'll take this tea, thank you.
You're
But,
welcome.
wake
It's
me in
my
the
mother's
morning.
recipe.
I am ready to be back in Akrivel.
How does a spider drink tea?
I have been wondering that.
She just kind of lays down there. I think we two should probably take a break.
You know, despite him showing up alone in the middle of the night in the middle of the Mwangi expanse, having no clue what was going on. He seemed really well staffed.
I really liked that guy.
I really didn't like his shield, though. It was real pompous looking. If I went around looking like that, if I carried that around, I'd look like a real idiot.
So, chat, thank you all for hanging out. Don't go far. We're going to be back in a couple of minutes. We're going to take our midstream break. We'll be back in 5 to 10 probably to finish up the stream here. And I mean, really have hit the peak of madness we're going to run into this particular session.
Not a chance.
We'll be right back.
That's
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. After that magical experience.
What, peeing in a Renaissance dress? It's not that magical. It's mostly just frustrating.
This is a very fancy resume costume we have now, though, by the way.
It's true.
We didn't mention that at all. That our resume has leveled up so majestically here.
You haven't even seen my my craft-made silver elf ears yet, but they're on the way.
We're going all in. We've slowly been adding bits and pieces. We've had the cowboy hat and the plaid shirt since forever, and then we had the holy symbol, and we have a holy symbol for you. We just haven't figured out what to do with it yet.
It would go on my shoulder.
Why not put it in the band on the hat?
Well,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to use shrink item on it.
Your little wooden holy, and I love it's a little wooden holy symbol.
I really like it.
It's just like a little wooden symbol by Obadiah.
It actually, and it's got like paint. I painted it so it looked like the paint had all been worn off.
nice.
So, I actually really like it. It's really good for me, at least.
It's super good. I like it.
I wonder if we can get it on. No, the cameras won't focus on
But,
it.
You could put it like
I count
right
it.
here.
A group of you rest for the evening. Renali and Valia not having found anything important, not having found anything of value, which means that at the moment, our map now stands as thus. We have revealed all of this stuff. We didn't leave the one hexagon that's just kind of there. Would have driven us insane forever
No,
and been
that-
legally mandatory that we go and make sure there wasn't actually a totem in that hex. We've cleared out
I
a
don't
good amount
mind
of
not
this.
clearing everything, but we can't leave a gap in where we've been.
No, you have to be QPU aligned.
Exactly.
It has to be consistent. We have to have systematic clearing ideas.
There could have been a totem there.
So there could have been a totem there, but there's a totem exactly north of it, so clearly the range is not a limiting factor here. But you rest for the evening and awaken to an overcast sky and, well, some amount of rainfall. Once again, it seems that more than 1 or 2 dry days in the Mwangi Expanse is just too much to ask for. And Renavo, more than ready to get up and get going, more than excited, is already prepared, up and seemingly ready before anyone but your last shifter has awoken here. And as you all get up and prepare yourselves and ready yourselves for the morning travel, as everyone finally seems to be ready to head out, Renavo nods. Okay then, we head back. We have much to tell, many stories. We have so many people to catch up on everything. Well, I don't want to attempt to assume conclusions or put thoughts together. I want to wait to see what the leopards and my daughter and Gelenor, of course, have to say about all of this. It is an experience you've had, a victorious one.
That it has.
You come back as champions yourselves. You have slain how many Cinderclaws by now? It must be the hundreds,
Well, not quite, but 33.
dozens. Then
Yes.
it still has a good ring to it.
No, way more.
No, I don't think so.
I'm gonna count. You just wait.
Count the badges; they're right there.
And so the group of you spend the morning and beginning of the afternoon here,
The two more.
traveling back once more to Akrivel,
Two I blast.
where fairly early in the afternoon, not too long after your lunch break, the jungle would start to notably change. You'd start to see the woven flowers and vines and the clear signs of work spread throughout the trees, and then within the hour, you would come upon the sights of Aquavalve itself, once more suspended before you up in the treetops. And as you approach, there are a small contingent of Ekujai hunters down there at the bottom who are readying for something. They've got all of their kit and their bows and everything slung together. And Gelenor, there, ready to lead them.
Eleanor.
And he looks over, has about the same reaction as a group of you, looks and just a brief nod, and then goes back, turning almost entirely away from you to do whatever he is doing here. And Renavo calls out, Eleanor! What are you doing? This hunt can wait, look! They have returned victorious!
Well, I mean, victorious is kind of stretch, but I feel like if they are going on a hunt, we don't want to be messing up with the food sourcing.
Eleanor just turns around and kind of looks across the group of you. We are not hunting for food. We are securing the lands we lost.
That's a great idea. Actually, we just ran into some guys yesterday, so I feel like securing the area is a great idea.
Then it sounds like both you and us have much work to do.
Sure do.
We'll leave you to it then.
He nods and then turns back and motions to the hunters who just kind of pick up all their bags and whatever it is they were doing. And you're ready to leave immediately. And Renavo just shrugs and walks up and physically puts a hand on Eleanor's shoulder. He's like, "You're ridiculous! After all they have done for us, we cannot just leave. You must stay at least one day. The jungle will still be there. We couldn't patrol it for weeks before now. I can wait one more day."
He's a right jerk, he is.
And Eleanor stops.
I put my hand on the bird's mouth.
Grab his beak. Eleanor stops and turns around and says something quietly to Renavo. You can immediately hear. Renavo just kind of raises an eyebrow. Nonsense. Come on. They have their stories to tell, not ours to assume.
What? They would never use fire in the forest? What are you talking about,
Hey,
Eleanor?
I haven't been using fire because it's not effective against those things.
Can I perception check to try and hear it?
It's really basically impossible, but sure.
Possible.
Also,
That
you're
sounds like-
recalling knowledge, so no, you're not seeking. And Galor kind of shrugs off Renavo's hand and glares back at the group of you, Buddy and Dalren in particular.
I tip my hat at him.
So gonna stick my tongue out at him.
I'll
just a
ignore
little.
him.
Fine. I suppose at least knowing what there is left behind that we will have to clean up is useful knowledge. And walks out past Renavo and just starts hopping up in the trees. And other hunters are all kind of standing there like, well. Renavo just motions for the rest of them. Do not worry, you can head out in the morning sun. Next morning. Come on.
You gotta respect his drive. I'm glad that he's getting back to protecting the place because you really do have a nice forest around here.
Galenor, he worries in his own way. He has been quiet these past weeks. I do not think it is lack of faith necessarily so much as he feels powerless. He physically cannot head out into the jungle to deal with the situation himself.
Well, he should get better over time since, the jungle is a lot more accessible now, so
You
he
can
should
see
be
he
able
is
to.
more than ready to head out as soon as he can. But do not be too harsh on him. He,
No, I get it. You're doing a good job protecting the pack.
He's doing the best he can, but it gets to him. There's not more he can do. He, and I suppose many others here, are concerned about our fate being left to, outsiders.
Of course.
Yeah. It's gotta be disconcerting. Well, we better head out though.
I do not know why we have always been so skeptical. This has gone great! You bring back dozens of trophies!
You'll have to excuse me for being a little insulted. Where I come from, you are to treat it is very rude.
And he shrugs. That is no different here. And he looks over the valley. Do you want a lift? And she just nods, yes, please. Renavo makes his way up the trees.
Yes! I'ma turn into a bird and just fly up there.
Turn to a bird and just fly up there.
Didn't I climb up the first
You
time?
all actually managed.
We
to
also
climb
managed
up
to
the
get
first
up there,
time.
yeah.
Everybody did. and
I'm
you're
not
more than
chancing
welcome.
it.
How in the hell did I do that with a -1?
I'm pretty sure you rolled like a 19 or a 20. You
Yeah,
actually
but-
rolled pretty high.
You-
You're all more than welcome to roll athletics or acrobatics if you want to follow up with him, but of course the lift is coming down for Valia.
I feel
And
bad
as
for the people lifting the lift. I mean, I'm
Ren-
kind of a hefty guy. I might
Renali
want to
just
climb up
kind of
anyways.
makes her way up the
Sun
side
bear
of the
just
tree,
Yeah.
and Valia's just standing there. I'm not going to climb the tree. It's ridiculous. I'm dignified.
All right, well, we'll see you in a moment.
Fair enough then.
Now,
See you in a moment.
now that was actually a 13, but I'm
Halfway
lucky. So that branch turned into a natural 20.
How do you do that?
Luck.
So Rur just somehow scrambles his way up here.
I
spinning like
hop
a-
up, the first branch gives, and instead of me falling, I bounce off of it and just keep going.
It goes boing.
Ooh, the wonderful thing about Tiggers. Just
Volley.
the wonderful things.
Valia just watches. It's not that I couldn't. It's just it seems a waste of effort.
Sure. Yeah, that's what they all say.
I'll try to go up the same path that I went up the last time.
All right.
I just pity the people on the lift, so I don't want to trouble them.
Break their arms.
Acrobatics 31.
Yeah, critically succeed easily. At this point, a challenge like this is it's child's play. The group of you.
Athletics 35.
You just literally punch your fingers. that double critically succeeds. So you just literally gauntlet up the side of the tree. And Espis, are you going for it?
Actually, no. I will go into the lift with Valia.
Very polite.
Renali just seeming to
Class.
climb up.
You have to be in the lift if you can push her out of it.
And
Only
Valia's just,
one.
And actually, like, whenever the lift comes down, I think it's something in your etiquette book about ladies being escorted. It's what you keep talking about with Resume.
Thank
So-
you, Lothar. I appreciate it. I'm glad to see that at least some of your group is a modicum of etiquette to their name. And
Espis, he's the guy. The etiquette guy.
That's the one.
And
Are you guys still down there?
Woo!
as you this kind of vine woven lift with a relatively small bottom. Looks like it's usually used more for like hauling goods than people up there. Comes down. It is a bit small, but it works. Helped me up the first time, so it'll be fine carrying the two of us. We can't possibly weigh as much as a water buck together.
We should be fine.
And it comes down. She steps onto it and then turns and extends her hand to you
Take it. Step on.
as they haul the
So romantic.
as they haul the pair of you up there.
It's like
Up-
a gondola.
Up at the top of the tree, largely just waiting there, is Nikita with her jaguar-topped staff. I guess it's a leopard. They're leopard clan. Leopard-topped staff. Almost a smile big enough to match Renavo's, and her arms out wide.
How
This is-
infuriating would that be
What?
if they had a jaguar?
Jaguar, leopard clan, the jaguar staff. That's the thing. I'm almost positive it is.
It should be.
It should be.
be the Jaguar clan. They're in the jungle after all.
The mighty
Yeah,
jungle.
but like having
They have a lion
close-
mascot, so I mean,
Yeah.
nothing means
Yeah.
anything.
You promised me a very detailed and intricate story as to
Nikita
how that
has
lion
one
got
if you-
there.
If you ask her for it. Smile on her face. It is good to see all of you have come back safe and sound as you can be. Clearly you have sustained some amount of injuries out in the jungle, but that is unfortunately to be expected. I have, well, second hand at least, the third I suppose, heard tales of some of your exploits. One of the elephant people's envoys came through to us, and as our hunters have made headway back up the southern tributaries to see more and more of your work, more of our lands return to our people. And we know it is you who is responsible.
Resume will turn back into a person and actually just kind of go like this.
And she'll one arm out and just sort of like the half-hearted hug around.
We
I am not one much for contact, but if anyone has earned it, it is the group of you.
We're so glad to see you again.
As are you. I learned of what had happened to the elephant people to the south, and knowing that I had sent you there unwittingly, knowing nothing of what the Cinderclaws had brought to them, I worried, but surely this was nothing. Nothing in the face of the group of you, clearly.
Well, the raiding party had left. We were able to help one of the survivors, but the Cinderclaws themselves seem to be more focused to the east. But we can go tell you about it when we all get together.
And Galenar's still just kind of standing there, bow slung over his shoulder, like one hand up on the top of his bow and the other folded across his midsection, just sort of looking back between the group of viewers who talk, completely grim-faced. And Nikita nods. Of course, there is still some time left in the day. I am positive that the Twin Leopards will want to know of what you have accomplished so far. What knowledge you have found, what you have learned of the Cinderclaws and their workings deeper, beyond what our eyes can see. You have clearly made great strides. But from our last reports, even within some past days, the blindness is not diminished entirely, though it has been massively reduced.
There's more work to be done.
It's been pushed back miles. Dozens of miles.
Yes, but some of the most powerful totems still stand. We wanted to be fully refreshed and ready before facing them.
We have prepared for your return. Please, we have no great feasts or anything to welcome you this time, but we have plenty of supplies. There is much food, water, anything you may need, rations,
A soft
arrows.
bed. A soft bed off the ground and no mosquitoes would be welcome enough.
The softest we can get, anyway. I will go speak with the leopards and arrange a meeting. I will return when we are ready. Arrange your stories and what you wish to tell the clan properly, and I am sure the Oses will take great interest in what you have seen and what you have heard. Think back to anything that may be useful, any weaknesses or any goals or what the Cinderclaws seem to be accomplishing, as truly we are still left in all ways in the dark.
We should confer, I suppose. Make sure we don't leave anything out.
Please do, but do not rush. I will give you some time. And she nods over to Renavo. And my father, even with the night with you, I'm sure is still more than happy to exchange stories. But it's my duties. I'll be back. And she takes her leave. And Galner as well is kind of standing there. I do have things I should be doing. I suppose the leopards will want me at this meeting. I'll be there. And turns and walks away. And Renavo just watching him. Ridiculous. You see what I put up with?
Hey,
It's all right. He's got his heart in the right place, right?
I hope he has other things in the right place or it's just not worth it.
So, surely you are tired. An expedition of that length through the jungle would wear on even our greatest hunters, even myself.
Well, it's a crucible of sorts. We seem to have come out all right.
Well, come then. We'll at least get fine food and, well, as fine beds as we can arrange. At least up here there are much fewer mosquitoes.
Yeah, something definitely to be grateful for.
So Renavo would take you up around to his own place on the upper tier, on that the northeastern platform, the place that he had you stay before he'd been sent out in the jungle. As he brings you all inside and sits you all down, he reaches back for a fairly large, bulbous gourd of some kind, with a rope, red twine lashed around in a stopper, and a plug into one end of it. He pulls it up and swishes it a bit. There's enough of this left of that to share. Here, try, palm wine.
Don't mind if I do.
Before I end up forgetting, I would have
Not-
carried
nope,
your
there,
drain
excellent. Pass it
this
around.
morning.
I'll have
What?
some.
Oh, it was the drain, right.
Thank you kindly.
No fortitude save necessary.
I was waiting for it, but he didn't call one, so I think we're okay.
No, it's it's not even a particularly strong alcohol. This is like it's a palm wine. It's got about
Sure,
the
it's
punch of a
refreshing,
beer
though.
at best.
You should
Yes,
stock
but
up on
you
more
try that.
peppers while you're here.
That is true. I was running quite low.
The children here still tell stories of the Birdman and his exploits at the Great Feast. I certainly cannot wrap my head around whatever it is you managed to do, but as far as I can tell, you simply do not taste heat, do you?
I'm gonna reach down in that little bag that I have and find one of those like small cherry bomb ones that exploded when we ate it. And I'm just gonna.
Ridiculous.
They're delicious. I love them.
I can understand tolerating or perhaps surviving these kind of things, but eating them of your own choice is ridiculous. You seem to pause for a second, kind of thinking. I do not know how many you have met on your journeys in the jungle, or if you know anything of these lands before you came here. But I understand that some do not look upon us terribly fondly, and it is not for no good reason. We are a very closed people. We do not share often with outsiders. We are low to trust. And I know even your reception here may, well, my grip of Daldane loses me here in the feelings and whatnots. I want you to not take personally any of, well, Gelenor's attitude or that of anyone here in Akrivel. They are what they raised to be, and there are many who teach that the coming of this darkness was brought by the work of all those outside the Ekujai. That they allowed this, and perhaps even welcomed it. And with the Cinderclaws appearing recently, some only believe that more. But he grips his necklace again. I am Kaledi. As they believe I am pure, and this honor I have taken me, I see this purity in you. I know that you at least mean the best. You are not like most humans. And most of you are not, truth be told, humans. I am talking.
I would like to think I am not similar to most humans.
You are not like those the Ekujai have met in the past.
I would imagine not very many people would come out here and risk their lives and everything they are for no payment and no reward and want nothing in return.
I am one of the few of my people, myself and my daughter, who has much interaction with those outside the Ekujai peoples themselves. So, as she tells me so frequently, we are traveled. And some see this as a thing to bring shame, as if welcoming the group of you here, putting our faith in you, is some weakness of mine. But I really do not believe anyone thinks ill of you personally or your deeds. They just, I don't know. I understand. My daughter tells me, and he turns around to his bed in the corner and reaches to a pretty fairly simple pile of his things behind it. There's what looks like a squared metal rounded plate sticking out from behind some cloth and stuff. I understand that you have this tradition in humans of gift giving. You give things to express appreciation. And as he pulls it up, it's a pretty huge square shield that's made of blackened steel and kind of rounded around the front. And the edge of it, and the band of the metal that holds it together, seems to be a series of blue arcane runes scribed all around like script. And in the center, a massive sigil of some kind. I have come across this a few times before. And this was given to me by a human as a gift for slaying a a person who uses magic to curse the dead.
Necromancer.
That's this word. I help them defend their lands, but it is heavy. I have little use for this. And I think perhaps it is show of good faith. And he plants it. That's standing up, almost towering, like 3.5, 4 feet up to his waist. Plants on the floor in front of Buford. It'll be passed back to another human who has earned it, with similar deeds.
You'd see Buford like kind of coloring up over there, like that is a mighty fine looking shield.
And it is enchanted. This.
My goodness. Oof.
The
Give me a
more
moment here.
I do declare, Mr. Beauregard.
The
This-
more a big chunk of metal it looks like, the better for Buddy. It is.
This shield is not only a solid wall of metal that keeps blades from you, it was enchanted by the Magambians, by their wizards and their
My knees are quaking here. It's okay. I can
magic
stand.
types.
You haven't even picked it up yet, are you?
I don't want to.
If,
Let him take it in slow doses.
and he kind of looks to resume. Have I done something wrong?
That is the most beautiful
No,
looking
Renavo.
thing.
You have such a good heart. I think it transcends pretty much any language or cultural barrier.
He is touched deeply. This is a princely gift.
It is.
It is a shield that, I hope, can stop Cinderclaw magic as well as weapons.
Very generous. Thank you.
Well, Buddy will be pleased to bear it forward.
I will probably start crying. Like, so I kind of just a little bit. I pick it up and it's just the most beautiful. You see little stars like coming out of like just shining. Like the most happy you've ever seen someone in your whole
Manly
entire
tears.
manly tears of sparkles over here. Like it's a moving moment for Buddy, I would say.
I suppose we'll start defining it to figure out exactly what it does.
And he could assist you in figuring it out largely, but you with your religion wouldn't be able to suss out that this shield, it does lack some of the protective power that Buddy's current shield has. It's not. Its abjuration wards are built entirely to deflect spells. So as far as physical prowess goes, it is just a steel shield. Hardness 6, 24 health. But it is enchanted to deflect magic as well as blades. And while you have the shield raised, it will give you a bonus to your saving throws equal to the bonus it's giving to your AC, allowing you to literally block magic as well.
Tight.
Awesome.
Do I think I could transfer those runes to the sturdier shield?
It's not like a weapon rune or something. It's the enchantment of the glyphs around the entirety of
Yeah.
the shield
I
itself.
figured
It
it
was
wasn't.
created.
I figured it wasn't hard.
You
It was
pretty much-
worth asking.
It'd be pretty much impossible to do that.
Okay.
And there's no way, being a master at crafting to reinforce this shield at all.
Well, it is as reinforced as it can be by like mundane
Just be
means.
mundane,
It is
yeah.
a spectacularly crafted heavy steel shield. It's
Okay.
just the sturdy shield is fully enchanted to be indestructible, whereas this is enchanted to deflect magic.
Two very different purposes, but both
Okay.
very powerful magics.
I
So
can
you
I can hold two shields.
you've
you know,
got
I'm
two
a,
arms.
I'm a,
You could
I'm a
put
pretty.
one.
I actually was thinking about that, and it's not a bad idea.
Dark Souls 2 in it. Let's go.
I've got.
Doorman.
Doorman.
She's a dual shielder.
I also would. I also have spikes on one of my shields. Is there anything that I can like potency rune a shield for my shield spikes?
You can absolutely potency rune shield spikes. Shield spikes are weapons. Yeah.
Okay.
You can. I'm
Get that extra D4.
pretty sure you can
It's
potency rune.
D6.
Yeah, aren't they considered
Yeah.
separate?
I'm pretty sure the shield spikes are considered completely separate from the shield and are a weapon that you can enchant and do things to, just like it's a weapon. I'm
Yeah, it's
almost
decent.
positive that's how that works, but we can look it up later. It's not like you can do that this exact instant.
I'm doing that this exact no. Okay.
It's already done. Sorry.
Through the night. Cling,
The
cling.
spike's already sticking out of the shield. No, I'm not doing that.
What you got there? A milkshake.
Milkshake. Why have all these
Shield
boys
spikes.
gathered in my yard?
But, so with that and you receiving this gift very, happily, you've got an hour or two in Akrivel to get some good food. It's not trail rations, and to rest in a warm and dry, as it seems as the rain is still kind of coming down. It doesn't even hit the platforms themselves. The canvas and the canopy of leaves and branches up above you seem to have been woven in such a way that while it's not solid, it redirects almost the entirety of the rain out into the surrounding jungle, and near nothing actually drips down onto Akrivel itself. So the area is completely dry. It's warm. It's nice. There's no mosquitoes. And you got good food, drink, and alcohol that you haven't been carrying with you for literally 2 entire weeks. But for too long, Nikita comes back for you. And brings the group of you back up onto the main platform where you had originally met the twin leopards. And as you arrive, they are standing there almost exactly as they had been before. The one with her blue gown and her heavy copper jewelry, and the other with her big necklace. Osei Varn and Osei Corey, which I guess only half of you have met, actually.
Yeah, I've never seen
You
these
two,
people before.
Esvis and Dalren never met these people, so you get an introduction here, I suppose. And again, they kind of have their simple guards posted around the outside of the platform here. As they stand there, hands straight at their sides, Nikita welcomes you in as you stand in largely the same place you were before, and you're being introduced to standing now. And bangs your staff on the ground twice. And the twin leopards again together. We are Osei Corey and Osei Varn of the Leopard Clan. Our mother, as they both each put one hand out, was of the Heart Clan. And Nikita, briefly as she did before, introduces you once again. And at the end of it, he continues, these people that have come from so far to help us in our time of need to stand against the return of the darkness have traveled throughout our lands, and they come with stories to tell. And that's all in Mwangi, and then she turns in common. Whoever wants to take the lead, you explain this as the way you best see fit.
Oh, well, we could start with the totems that we've destroyed. In that list, we should include that Lord Stoutmore did destroy one of them and take it with him. And then I suppose the Cinderclaw fortress we discovered south of the river, and finally the mine to be excavated. I think that's all the salient points we need mentioned.
And so as you're kind of recounting your...
I'll let Resmi do the talking, though. She's
Yeah.
way better at it.
As you recounting the story back through and telling your journey and all the totems you found because of magic, all the various defenses they've had between the drakes and the bat things and the dragon Chiruka of various kinds, the volcanic blasts. It's a while to kind of weave all this information together. And as you kind of wind down, I assume explain this all in Wangi.
I will.
Buford and Esvis kind of just stand there looking.
I figure they're doing
the
what
same
they're
thing
doing.
as ours. Absolutely
I
no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
They got something going.
Yeah, they're good.
It's all right.
I
I
wouldn't
wrote
really
I
help
wrote
anyways.
3 epic poems about it.
As you finish, Galanor steps forward, hands folded together, and nods. Our hunters have been able to reclaim much of the lands to the south. Their journeys add credence to the tale of the outsiders. Whatever they have done, they seem to have cleared a path down much of the river. Not all of our lands are returned to us, and even those nearby at hand to the east seem still to fall to darkness and ash. But much of this veil has been pushed back. And this is all still in Wongi as well. And the twin leopards nod. And then Ose Varn, in the blue gown, extends a hand out towards Renavo. Renavo, the lady of the leopard clan. You who are pure and spared from all the corruptions of this world and all that it brings with it. Show to them that which has been brought to us. And he, the first time I've ever really seen him not smiling, he's attempting to be relatively serious here. He nods, but quickly turns to grip you in common. The yellow hat man, he brought these. And then turns and stands back up and walks towards the twin leopards and towards one of those cases around the outside of the platform where the aides had brought things before. Kneels down, opens it, and pulls out a very thick brown cloth wrapped around something. It appears to be relatively small, that he can hold in one hand. He holds it in both. Has background in Wongi. Our hunters caught an outsider near the river. And he was transporting a pair of these things. And he's trying really hard. He's speaking Mongi, but he clearly has no idea, even in his home native tongue, how to explain what the hell is in these things. Mm-hmm. And he kneels down, puts them on the ground, and unwraps it, and you see the tiny white and blue totems. And as he unwraps them,
Don't do that.
steps back, they both flash up
Oh,
into
don't.
massive full-size totems.
Ugh.
And the twin leopards jump back. All the guards reach down and pull out weapons. Galanor
Dalrun rages.
runs forward. Dalrun rages. And these two
Resme
totems.
puts her head in her hands.
And Nikita's just looking at it like completely flabbergasted. And Renavo, they did not do that before.
Would you like me to explain?
Well, before we get to long-winded explanations,
It's not that long-winded.
perhaps we should simply dispose of these, get them out of the way.
Yes, we can definitely do that. May I beg your indulgence for a moment to try to get rid of these things for you?
Donor's just kind of glaring at you. He steps forward again. My hunters took this man, took these from him when they were still small, but recognized the one that we had found at Hunter's Gate before. The other seems more powerful, more detailed, and now both, of course, much larger. He seems like he's kind of unclear on like what to do about this. All the guards are still standing at the ready, but nothing
Resme's
further
just
happens.
casting.
As you start casting, Nikita just like cuts like a stop gesture very frantically, and steps forward. I have used the best of my magics to determine and analyze this thing, and stop. And the twin leopards are just kind of looking back and forth between you and Nikita, very confused. I believe this to be the source of our recent troubles. This totem here has no power left to it that I can see, but it does not appear to have had much before. It is a channel. This, now here, even, and she reaches out and touches it, at arm's length, has no effects on us. But, and she can switches over to common. What are you casting?
So the way we've been dealing with them is they have a sight-based effect. So when they see something or they sense something, they use whatever power each one of them has, and each is different, to do whatever they're going to do. Some of them are physical damage.
What are you casting?
I'm trying to shrink them down so I can step on them and break them to smithereens. Like I did with all the others.
That's not how we got rid of the other ones.
Yes, it kind of is. They're gone.
And,
I remember hitting it really hard and I had nothing broken.
the twin leopards are both still standing there, arms straight at their sides, just waiting. And Renavo and Galanor are both looking back and forth. Nikita is
Before you do them, may I try to show them something?
Sure.
Nikita may, and Esvis just very cautiously, just uncomfortable with everyone still on guard, gestures to his pack. May I have tools. These things, and he's speaking louder in common, are charged with runes, things that allow them to channel the magics. They can be ruined so that they have no power left.
That's what we did.
And she turns and quickly just translates that into Mwangi for the twin leopards. And I'll say Varn raises an eyebrow, but I'll say Corey puts a hand up in front of her and just nods and looks at you. And absolutely everyone's eyes shifts to Esvis.
And pull out the thieves' tools and go over to, because we know the white one had no runes on it whatsoever.
Right, and then
Go over to the blue one, and while the head was blown off, there's still. There's more
that
of
was
the
still there. It's been like shredded by a blast, but it's still attached. It's still a whole totem.
Okay. And I will thievery check to mar the runes in my expert way that I had before. For a 31.
And with a 31,
Totem comes to life, starts petrifying everyone.
somehow under more pressure right now than you have been in the jungle actually fighting these things. You cautiously mar through these runes and interfere with their channel, shutting off the last of the power that this blue totem still has in it. There's no visible effect, really, because the thing's not glowing. It's not visibly on. But Nikita, watching down at you, doesn't think what you're doing. This is in common. That is certainly one way to do it.
Yeah.
The method that we've been using for each of these has been knock it over or cover the head and then have Esvis do this to the runes.
That is genius.
And I'll put the tools away and just bow and move back to the group.
And then I shrink it so that we can get rid of it.
Yeah,
You start
originally
casting for 10 minutes.
Yes.
we couldn't think of a good way to transport them, so we started shrinking them until we decided it was best just to dispose of all of them.
We couldn't leave them there, or the Cinderclaws could come back and try to fix them.
As you're talking to Nikita, this conversation seems to have finished. Here, Galanor steps forward and pounds his chest again. So then, it sounds like we have 2 fronts left to plan a battle for. The Cinderclaws hide like cowards under this spell of theirs in their fortress to the south, and they mine for their foul gold in the east. These areas are still beyond our hunters. To our understanding, there is not much we can do to aid. He takes a really deep breath and grits his teeth. We will still have to rely on the outsiders for the time being, as we cannot fight blind.
If I may, The Cinderclaws.
It's in Mwangi, isn't it?
Never mind.
Yeah.
Ah,
I
never
could
mind.
I could be actively
Yeah,
translating
maybe you could
this.
translate it for you. But while you're all kind of gathered around, the leopards are still saying they're kind of step back from these totems now.
Still casting.
It's gonna be like still going. It's gonna be like 10 minutes.
There
Renavo steps in here. They have done so much for us already. We cannot expect more. They have proven to be a powerful and terrible weapon to the Cinderclaws. They have smote dozens. But by their accounts, we ask but 5, 6, less than a dozen people to assault an army. This is suicide, Galenor.
Is he still talking in Mwangi?
It's still one.
Okay.
Yep.
The leopards are just kind of listening. Eyes forward, they kind of shift back to Galenor. Galenor shakes his head. What would you have us do then? Nava kind of says, I don't know, but it is something we can think on at least. We can plan, we can strategize, we can form something better than throwing those who have done so much for us to their deaths. Galenor just kind of shakes his head. If we cannot come within miles of their fortress or their mine, there's nothing we can do. We have no choice. We can't help them. We can send for allies perhaps, but they are few and distant.
For what it is worth, the Cinderclaws did bring this issue directly to us. They made us a part of this whether they wanted to or not. We don't mind participating in this.
And Galenor kind of glances at you for a minute, and then looks back to the leopards and Renavo. Have this in common. This, you cannot fight an army of them. By your own accounts, there are as many as that mine as total you have fought throughout the whole jungle.
Well, it's we're not going to fight the entire army by ourselves, and certainly not at the same time. Maybe eventually by ourselves. We'll see how foolish they are.
There were some Gripply who have come to fight.
Well, the Gripply,
that's
let's
it now,
not
wait
go.
now,
did
wait
they,
now
did they
here.
make it here, by the way?
And Nikita turns and just nods to you.
Ah,
yes,
good,
they
good,
have.
good.
They
So, like about this, honestly, the Ekujai could help as long as the blindness goes down.
Yeah, we just need to get rid of the totem
If
first.
we can get rid of the totems, that's honestly all we need to do. We could draw them off, or perhaps, and I was thinking, if Resme can cast an invisibility spell on Esvis, Esvis may be able to get close enough to disable the totem without being spotted.
Well, we can figure that part. We can figure out the logistics. But all we have to do is, I mean, these guys, if they want to fight for their land,
Can we not strategize in front of the two leaders who can literally
Well,
decide
we
life
are-
and death?
they are trying to figure out what we're doing, and we're
Well,
also
they're
trying
not
to do
going.
it.
Do
They're
not
not going to
speak
kill us. We're the
common.
only ones who can walk into the blind area.
They also don't speak common, and this is really rude.
He started talking in common. It's not
Doesn't-
rude.
It doesn't matter. Stop it, please.
We'll discuss strategies.
To
later.
Elvin, then. Rest assured, Renavo.
still casting it.
Rest assured, Renavo. There are many ways that we can deal with this mine without having to rely on fighting every single one of them right away. And I'm sure Galenor will find plenty of opportunity to come in and help once we deal with the totems.
And Gunnar, looking straight at you, replies in Wangi, I have already voiced my concerns. If there
It
were
sounds like he
any
agrees.
other way, he turns to the leopards, I would advise it. We cannot trust them. Their ways are dangerous and volatile, near as much as the Cinderclaws themselves.
Yeah, we totally suck.
Heard of their magic and their explosions. And we know they allowed the temple to be destroyed. As the Gripply told us. We know of their failings, and if we had any other option, I would advise it. And Nikita just kind of looks down at the ground and looking at her own feet. And Renavo, standing there, takes a minute before he just steps forward, like out of this turnout formation, and just puts a hand up. Galanor, you are ridiculous! We do not know the circumstances of what happened. They have been gone for weeks, fighting through hostile territory we cannot even see in. We do not know what has happened with that yellow hat man, or with their magic, or what they had to do to defend themselves. And Galanor turns to him, grimacing. We have had this conversation. Your fate is not mine, Renavo. I wish I could trust as you. But we know what the Gripply told us. They walked away. They left him there to blow that temple. They cast the fire. But they are our only choice.
Speaking of the temple that we did stop,
Wait a minute.
You don't.
I've
all
been
stone.
translating.
You've been translating?
I've been translating. Now
Okay,
I'm
so he's
speaking up in
translating.
one.
I'm
No.
sorry. I thought we were here to fight an active war, not guard ruins.
No, Sakori puts a fist up. And any Ekajai who were talking, giving anything, stop immediately and stand straight up, their hands at their side. Leif. And with that, and nothing more than a nod, Renavo and Galanor and Nikita and all of the other elves around, save for the actual guards posted on the edge, nod and turn and just walk straight out to the exit of the platform and leave.
Oh, we're gonna get exploded.
And as Nikita passes, she puts a hand on just probably Resme's shoulder, and quickly in common, "We will talk about this later. Whatever it is I have heard, do not worry. I have faith in you."
As Resme finishes the spell with a final incantation, and one of them shrinks back down again. And she holds it out. Now that it's inert, can I use shape wood on this thing to break it?
Now that it doesn't really have any power to it, absolutely.
Cool.
You can
Then she's just gonna shape wood it apart and just explode it in her hands.
As you just kind of pop both of these. Let's say Koya puts her hand down. It's just the five of you and the guards on the platform. And she turns to Elsevarn. And they speak briefly. Almost like nose to nose how close they are to each other. And with a brief nod from Varn, they turn back forward. And Corey speaks. This is just in Alden. You
Yeah, I can translate.
We have heard much of your travels through our lands. You have done, reasons notwithstanding. You have returned much of our lands to us. Your reasons, your causes, unknown. With no debt owed to the Leopard clan or the Akujai people. Can we ask, as the Keledi believes, for you to return our sight to us?
Of course.
All of us are in agreement. We would be happy to help finish.
And Varn nods. A bit of a smile. As we expected, you are a force unheard of in these lands in generations. Perhaps the might of the Leopard clan could not stop you if we tried. We still are blind. And we trust you will do as you must. We... And she stops for a moment, just kind of looks out in the distance. I believe there is Geledi in you.
I praise. Maybe things are different, but where we come from, these sorts of things that we find ourselves in now, common troubles, common problems, can be used to find common things aside from problems, and perhaps form the basis over time of a more lasting friendship. I don't know if such a thing is possible, but perhaps we can hold hope after this. We don't just fight the Cinderclaws for the Leopard clan of strangers now, but perhaps also for the Leopard clan, our friends in the future.
And she nods, and I'll say Corey doesn't really do much. She doesn't really change at all, just listens and watches, a very neutral face.
But I understand the Ekujai do not make friends easily. So, if this is something that takes time, or takes forever, then it will be unfortunate, but it will be the way it is. Irregardless, our tragedy makes us friends now.
I just may translate this. Let's see if Varn takes a step forward. We are not one people. Not even us, twin leopards. And we are not always of one mind. But whatever you have done or whatever your reasons, the Leopard clan owes you a great debt. Even now. And perhaps this is a sign of things to come. He puts both hands out, palms up. Perhaps in the future, from a debt, can come friendship.
That's what I can hope for then.
You will have whatever you need of Akrivel, but will return to our lands when you are ready. Soon, we hope.
Of course.
We have merely 2 totems left before the blindness should be gone completely. It's possible that it could extend from their primary stronghold, but there are only, as far as we're aware, 2 more.
You guys will notice that Resume is translating very woodenly. Like, it is pure translation, and you get the feeling that she does not mean a single word that she's saying that's coming out of her mouth right now. Like, she's literally just translating it. There is no emotion behind it whatsoever.
And with that, the final nod is, so say, Barnes to us back in line. The twin leopards repeat their salute and dismiss you down from the platform as well. Your place, hopefully, understood, and their faith in you seemingly still intact. As you head down, Nikita and Renavo are both waiting. Nikita, like a white-knuckled grip on her staff below the leopard's head. I had expected as much, but...
Don't worry, everyone's still alive.
Well, of course, but I can never read the leopards. They... And never in my lifetime have I seen them so divided.
They seem wary of our strength.
It's a strange thing for them to say, suggesting that we could somehow beat all of Akrivel in a fight.
We could.
Well, we wouldn't dare try.
Well,
No,
there's
because we're
nothing-
not stupid, and that's not the reason we're here. Perhaps you should make it clear to them that we're not doing this for them. We're doing this for your children, so that they have a future.
We were brought into this by an attack. We didn't choose to come and help expecting something out of all of you. They made us a part of it. And we're
But
here
still,
to
you
help.
have risked your lives. You have spent weeks in this jungle fighting day in and day out for a threat that could not possibly pose any concern to you. We have reclaimed Hunter's Gate. And
I mean, for now, but I mean, they already got to where our homes
you
are.
have the key that they had stolen. They have no way back through.
There's one in Akrivel, is there not?
There is, but
That totem was not a day-and-a-half journey from this city, and we ran into a war party even closer than that. Please, we don't mean to suggest that Akrivel cannot take care of itself, but perhaps we still have reason to work together.
If the cult were to spread its influence enough that it could overtake Akrivel, our side of the portal would not be safe. The attack that they sent on us would be a daily occurrence. This is just as much a threat to us as it is to you.
Renavo puts a hand up. Regardless of what the Cinderclaws have done or what they mean, it pains me to send you back out into what is sure to be more bloodshed.
Oh, yes.
I would wish there was some way that this could be handled without such slaughter, but
You believe that there might be a possibility? We've actually had such discussions. Buddy was very keen on trying to at least find a few of them to renounce their ways.
They can't all possibly be bad. I mean, it's the whole civilization out there.
Well, at the very least, the kobold slaves that they have would probably have no love
and as
for this
Renavo goes
philosophy.
to reply, Nikita puts her hand up. Father, one moment. What do you know of Chiruka?
Well, they're kind of short. Mostly they seem to be rather angry.
The Gripply gave us a bit of a background. Apparently, there are some Chiruka in existence that do not follow this destructive path.
Yes, unfortunately, for how fanatical they are, this appears to be quite the minority of Chiruka.
Boggarts as well, apparently. There are plenty of them, but it doesn't surprise me. There's plenty of humans that live well, and then others who cause havoc.
There was an empire, a kingdom, deeper in the expanse, far to the east of Sorrow, where the Gorilla King ruled, and the Charuka were, as far as our history understands, near always his people. But he was overthrown sometime back, somewhat recently, and with his loss, the Charuka seemed like a headless snake. Like a people who somehow did not understand how even to work on their own. Like
This Gorilla King, it was a single entity? Or is this a form of government or a title?
it was a figure individual, and very literal, actually.
Huh.
This Gorilla King, he was a powerful tyrant, and the Charuka followed him out of as much fear as respect. But with his loss, instead of reveling in their freedom, they seem simply had to have sought a new ruler. They perhaps have known nothing else. But they were just as fanatical then.
It seems like the race as a whole is dispositioned to follow a powerful figure.
But that is the thing. What are they following? I do not think the leader of the Cinderclaws could possibly be a Charuka. And perhaps I underestimate their peoples. But even among their own leadership, they seem to largely be ruled over by boggards and those larger and stronger. Well, you have told me about them, their transformation into dragons, this draconic influence that has physically warped them. This...
I have some ideas about it.
Could be an actual dragon.
That, I fear, is not outside possibility.
Rather excited to find out, actually.
Idealistically, we do not want to encounter a dragon.
Oh,
No.
certainly not. No.
It's
They're,
not
they're terribly dangerous. But
It's
to
not
find out,
spoken of here any longer, but the darkness that they worship, it is a draconic visage they see.
Yes.
While I do not think they have brought back God, who else would have reason to follow?
well, I wouldn't worry about the actual god itself. There could be many
And
intermediaries.
don't worry about the God. I worry about the suicide that they send you to. If you face not Charuka and Boggarts, but a Dragon King leading them, how could you possibly stand to that?
Well, he speaks Draconic, so I mean, he'd probably just be able to talk him down.
Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll die. It doesn't matter. That's our responsibility, our duty.
Well, let's not say that we're going to go throw our lives away needlessly. We're certainly
No.
not beyond the capacity to retreat if it's too terrible.
However, we are your guests, and you are our host, and we made a promise, and that promise will be kept. To break it would be to dishonor ourselves beyond what could ever be repaired.
And she just kind of looks over to her father, and Renava puts a hand on the kid's shoulder and nods. I told you. Told you they have reasons.
You
My
know,
daughter was... I had hoped that the Gripply would not come up, and their message and their words, but she has been struggling with her vision of you and what drives you, what could cause the destruction that seems to lay in your wake. And we have heard, and the fire, and the ash, but I make no claim to understand your reasons or your methods rather, but your reasons are driven by something here. Something beyond what your mother and your father gave you. Something beyond the highest calling most would understand.
Well, just between Buddy and myself, we have two very protective, by literally redeeming gods.
Nikia just kind of nods. That is just it. What your gods give you. Ekujai, we believe a soul is 4 parts. Half from your mother and father, a piece from your heart and a piece from your gods. And that last one is the hardest to read. I did not, and in terms of a novel, I did not believe there was not a reason. I was sure there must have been, but I did not doubt you. And he just kind of looks down at her. I doubted you a little, but I was sure there had to be purpose.
Well, the purpose is good people were going to get hurt if we didn't take action.
And while we're on the on the subject of the Gripply and their discussions, is there any other places or people or whatnot that are lurking in the jungle that we should be aware of that would cause great distress to the twin leopards were we to not take them into proper consideration?
Arnavo kind of grins. We did not know the Gripply would be making their way south here. But it seems that the Cinderclaw influence has spread further than we expected.
Yes, all the way to Iskar. And the Gripply are delightful people, please don't get me wrong. But certainly the thought of... apparently it seems that Gelinor was particularly displeased that we didn't fight to the death to defend an abandoned and ruined temple on a cliffside.
We did defend it once, but...
He just kind of... What do you want me to say to that?
Are there any others?
The jungle, these are our lands. Everything that is here is part of what makes us Ekujai. And
I see.
So why not punish Stoutmore rather than bring it to us?
I suspect Stoutmore was severely punished. After all, he was very, shall we say, possessive of this totem when we found him with it.
Renavo kind of, like, trying to stifle a grin a bit.
You take his gun.
Looks down to Nikita. Oh, I did not do anything. I just looks at her. What? You know what happened as well as I did. I did not touch him. I spoke with him. We discussed some things. I took the totems that he had with him, which were much smaller at the time, and everything else he had.
Understandable.
That couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
Just reaches down.
Quite the trophy.
Does he have any clothes left?
I did not want him to die immediately. He's not naked. He's close.
Kept his socks.
He will be running back to his boat very, very quickly.
Good riddance.
Can I prevail upon you for some armor?
And with this kind of turning to what we can, our gathering and our planning and our preparations to head back out to deal with what is left of the Cinderclaws, I think there is a good place for us to leave this session for today. With us having made it back to Akrivel, met Manon Payak, who is a human that exists.
I love that guy. That man is my favorite.
And at least largely, I guess, gotten at least a better window into the Ekujai, what they know, what they think, and what they've learned of our journeys so far. And I mean, we know largely what we've got to do when we come back next week. You know, there's still a couple of totems out there in the jungle. You know, at least a couple of totems are out there in the jungle. And we know about a couple of larger operations that need to be handled as we can.
It's sapping time.
But what we've got left ahead of us is certainly the final uphill battle against the Cinderclaws so entrenched in the eastern range of the Ekujai lands. And thank you all, chat, for being here and hanging out. Thank you guys for coming. Next week, we are going to be taking the fight back out and setting up to take the fight into them properly. And I mean, hopefully, everything's going to go great.
Everything's
It'll be
gonna be
fine.
great.
We're going to find an army. What's the worst that could happen?
Dude, I can breathe underwater
It's fine
and
if you fight
shape
them
stone.
a
It's
piece
gonna be
at a
fine.
time. We'll be all
What's
right.
the worst that can happen?
We could flood all of Akrivel.
Good night, everybody. We will see you
I don't think that's how trees work.
next Saturday.
No, it is.